Welcome to Fanfiction Audiobooks. One Piece Bounty System. Chapter 1, Getting into the Pirate System for the First Time. In the 21st century, Ma Tianli was one of the world's top killers. He was plotted during a mission and was blown to pieces. But when he woke up, he found himself lying on the deck of a huge warship. The first thing he saw when he opened his eyes was the sails and flags on the warship. The sails and flags on warships have the same graphic on them. There are two bends on the top, like a wing, and a horizontal wrench-like graphic on the bottom. The upper and lower graphics are nothing if separated, but together they form this logo. As a super fan of anime, Ma Tianli is very familiar with it. It is the symbol of the Navy in One Piece. Ma Tianli was stunned when he saw it. Did he travel through time? If this was still not certain, then when he discovered that he had changed from a 20-year-old youth to a -year-old boy, he was completely sure that he had truly traveled through time. But it wasn't over yet. A stream of memories flooded into his mind. After reading this memory, Ma Tianli really lives up to his name. I just feel like thunder is coming. It turned out that he had traveled through One Piece and possessed the body of a boy with the same name, Sokka Tenli. He also has an uncle named Sakaski, an admiral. Does this name sound familiar? That's right, it's Akainu, a natural type rockberry, one of the 3 generals of the Navy, a powerful man who became the marshal 2 years after the battle on top. After a while, Ma Tianli, no, Sokka Tianli now reacted and accepted this fact. In the blink of an eye, it seems not bad. I, Tianli, am just an orphan in the 21st century, and I have nothing to miss. I became a killer just for excitement and challenge, so that I could have a feeling of being alive. Of course, Tianli is not a pervert, he only kills some extremely evil people. Now in the world of One Piece, there is at least one uncle who is not there. The most important thing is that there are all kinds of powerful, monster-like characters here. What could be more exciting and challenging than defeating these people? What's more, with Akainu as his big backer, he can definitely walk sideways, but it is a pity that the predecessor of Sokka Tianli is a bit unsatisfactory. He is just a second-generation ancestor. He has been good at eating, drinking, whoring, and gambling at a young age, but he has not practiced well. Therefore, Akainu only took care of Sokka Tianli because of his blood. As for the rest, he simply ignored Sokka Tianli. Tianli couldn't help but secretly said, "Holy crap! Holy crap! Holy crap! Damn it! God, do you want to play with me like this? With such a big backer and such good resources, if you don't practice well, it's really a cruel act. It's fine now. I don't have the resources to practice anymore, and Akainu just ignores me." Tianli looked up at the sky speechlessly, wanting to cry without tears. But fortunately, Akainu is only 48 years old now, and at the time of the battle on the top, Akainu was 52 years old. From a time point of view, it is still 2 to 3 years away from the beginning of the main plot of One Piece, which is when Luffy goes to sea. It seems that the first thing I need to do is to find a method of cultivation in this world. The methods of cultivation in my previous life are not of much use in this world. You must know that the world of One Piece is indeed passionate and exciting, but it is also full of endless dangers and unknowns. Compared with the legal society of the previous life, this world is too dangerous. For those strong men who can destroy cities at every turn, ordinary people like ants, they can be destroyed with a wave of their hands. Even the aftermath of a random battle may be the end of the world for ordinary people. Just like a person accidentally steps on an insect while walking, he will not even know that he has stepped on an insect. The Bible can no longer simply measure good and evil. Ordinary people are like those bugs in this world, and now I am one of those bugs. Even if his uncle is the mighty Admiral Akainu, it can't change the fact that he has no power. Therefore, Tianli is worried from the bottom of his heart. After all, the world of One Piece is one where the strong is respected. World. You must know that the family members of another naval admiral, Black Wrist Zifa, were all killed by the pirates' revenge. If faced with the same situation, Lafa doesn't think he will survive. God knows if there will be someone who wants to take revenge on Sakaski Akainu and come to find him. If he does, he won't even have time to cry. After all, Sakaski Akainu's absolute justice offended the most people. Damn it, how can we get the training method of this world now? It seems that the only way is to perform well and attract the attention of Sakaski Akainu again. As long as Akainu values himself, the 6th form of the Marines is within reach. Tianli thought with a frown. To attract Akainu's attention, it's easy enough, as long as the strength is greatly increased, it's absolutely possible, but it's a pity that there is no way to practice it. Another way is to kill pirates and promote the justice of the navy, which can also attract Akainu's attention, but based on his own skills, he can only be killed in this world. Thinking of this, Tianlei was troubled again, and he couldn't help but said to the sky, God. I don't know which god sent me here, but no matter which god it is, you sent me to this world, at least give me some cheats. Look at other people who have traveled through time. Which one doesn't have some benefits and cheats? Besides, you sent me to this world. If I don't get along well here, you won't be able to get along with me either. Maybe some god really heard what Tianlei said, and a string of mysterious and unusual words suddenly appeared in Tianlei's mind. Ding dong. Host detected, host is being identified. Host Sokka Tianlei. Strength, 1, with the strength of an ordinary person, you can attack with 1 strength. Speed, 2, normal human speed. Defense, 1, an ordinary person's defense can withstand an attack of 1 force without being injured. Physical skills, none. Swordsmanship, none. Marksmanship, none. Devil fruit abilities, none. Overlord color domineering, none. Armed color domineering, no. Knowledge color domineering, no. Meet system requirements. The bounty system is officially opened. The bounty system can extract the awakening factors of physical skills, swordsmanship, weapons, devil fruit, knowledge color, armed color, and overlord color haki based on the bounty of the pirates killed or captured. 3. A method of cultivating domineering power and a method of cultivating devil fruit abilities. As soon as the voice finished, Tianlei was immediately overjoyed. Tianlei, who was lying on the deck, was suddenly startled and stood up. Then he looked up to the sky and screamed, ha ha ha. Sure enough, there is a golden finger in time travel, and I finally have a way to become stronger. Chapter 2 Poisoning the Pirates. Normal pirates, even the lowest level pirate Luo Luo, cannot be killed by the current Tianlei, and it is not possible to kill ordinary pirate Luo Luo. The bounty system must have bounty pirates. It works. But a pirate with a bounty cannot be killed by thunder, but what if it is a tied up or imprisoned pirate with a bounty? That's much easier to handle. Tianlei was a killer in his previous life. There are ways to kill people, but he can't do it for those strong and perverted people. But the worst pirates with bounties, although they are much stronger than ordinary ones, are still mortals, not superhumans. It is still possible to kill them, and it can be easily done with a little poison. And there are many such pirates on Akainu, the great general ship. Isn't this my best opportunity? Because Tianlei wanted to be a killer, he learned about all the foods that were incompatible with each other. Then Tianlei thought of a way to make all the pirates on the Akainu, the great general ship, eat these foods that were incompatible with each other every day. I still don't believe that Tianlei's poison can't kill anyone. Tianlei is a person who does whatever he thinks, not to mention that Tianlei is eager to increase his strength. Tianlei walked into the ship's cabin, and all the sailors he passed saluted Tianlei and called him with great respect, Master Tianlei. But Tianlei could see only contempt in their eyes. Tianlei couldn't help but smile bitterly. This is the treatment for those who are not strong enough. Tianlei swore in his heart that one day I would make everyone look up to me. When Tianlei came to the warship kitchen, the navy chefs saw Tianlei coming and saluted Tianlei one after another, Master Tianlei. Then a chef in a major uniform came out, Master Tianlei, I didn't know you were here with us. Why are you here? Tianlei, Major, nothing's wrong. I'm just hungry. I came here to find something to eat. Major, Master Tianlei, if you want to eat, just ask someone to inform you. You don't have to go there in person. Now I will arrange whatever food Master Tianlei needs. Tianlei, no, Major. You go about your business. I'll take a look here. If I see something I like, I can pick it out myself. After hearing what Tianlei said, the Major didn't say much more. If it weren't for Tianlei's identity, he wouldn't want to talk nonsense with Tianlei, a useless person. Major, Master Lei can do whatever he wants that day. Tianlei just wandered around in the kitchen, taking and eating as he went. It is said that the treatment in this navy is really good, and all kinds of food are provided. We also see the same thing about foods that are incompatible with each other, such as, for example, eggs should not be eaten with saccharin, they will cause poisoning if eaten together. Dog meat should be avoided with eels, if eaten with them, they will die. Soft shell turtle should be avoided with amaranth, they will be poisoned if eaten with the same food. Eggs and saccharin, easy to be poisoned. Carp and licorice, will cause poisoning, Dog meat should not be mung beans. Eating too much of the same food may lead to poisoning. Avoid beef with ginger. The same food will lead to death from poisoning. Avoid donkey meat with yellow flowers. It will lead to heartache and death. Carp, licorice will be harmful. Crabs and persimmons will cause poisoning. Soon Tian Li looked around the entire kitchen. At this time, Tian Li had some more food. It's really eating and taking. It's quite ugly when you eat. In fact, this is Tian Li's way of hiding things from others. What he holds in his hands are all incompatible things. Before preparing food for the pirate prisoners, he takes advantage of the fact that others are not paying attention, and threw the incompatible object in his hand. From today on, Tian Li has become a frequent visitor to this navy kitchen and eats 3 meals a day here. A month has passed in a flash. There is no way that these mutually exclusive things require a certain amount to be effective. In order not to arouse suspicion, we can only do it bit by bit and accumulate it day by day. During this month, Tian Li could only train using the training methods from his previous life. Now that Tian Li's body is similar to that of an ordinary person, the results are good for the time being. After this month of training, Tian Li couldn't help but feel that the human body in this world is magical. It is much stronger than in the previous life. After only 1 month of training, I am now much stronger than I have been in the past few years. It is indeed a world of monsters. Host Sokka Tian Li. Strength, 3, with the strength of an ordinary person, you can attack with 3 strength. Speed, 3, normal human speed. Defense, 3, an ordinary person's defense can withstand an attack of 3 force without being injured. Physical skills, none. Swordsmanship, none. Marksmanship, none. Devil fruit abilities, none. Overlord color domineering, none. Armed color domineering, no. Knowledge color domineering, no. Lei Tian is looking forward to it today, because as of today, the amount of poisonous food he has given has been more than 20 times that of a normal person. Through this month, Lei Tian also found out from the mouths of various navies that there were 21 bounty pirates imprisoned on the Sakaski Akainu. There are 11 small pirates with a bounty of less than 500 million, 7 with a bounty of 500 to 1000 million, 2 with a bounty of more than 7 million, and only 1 big pirate with a bounty of over 1000 million. Except for a few pirates with a bounty of more than 1000 million, they are all at the superhuman level. These human Tian Li have no hope of being poisoned by the things that are incompatible with them. Not to mention the big pirate with hundreds of millions. However, those with less than -million are still 18 bounty pirates who are mortals. Lei Tian said, haha, sure enough, Huang Tian has paid off. Tian Li finally waited until the familiar words appeared in his mind. The bounty system prompts that the host poisoned Black Wind, the captain of the Black Wind pirates, with a bounty of 100 million, and the reward will be to draw primary physical skills, sword skills, shooting, weapons, Superman-type devil fruits, and animal-type devil fruits at once. The bounty system prompts that the host poisoned Ten Shin, the captain of the Ten Shin pirates, with a bounty of 300 million. And the reward is to draw elementary physical skills, swordsmanship, shooting, weapons, Superman-type devil fruits, and animal-type devil fruits at once. The bounty system prompts that the host poisoned the captain of the Union Pirates, Purica, with a bounty of 440 million, and the reward is to draw primary physical skills, sword skills, shooting, weapons, Superman-type devil fruits, and animal-type devil fruits at once. The bounty system prompts that the host poisoned Captain Liulai of the Ten Shin Pirates with a bounty of 700 million. As a reward, he will draw elementary physical skills, sword skills, shooting, weapons, Superman-type devil fruits, and animal-type devil fruits. Bounty system prompts that physical skills, sword skills, shooting, weapons, devil fruits, and domineering are divided into elementary, intermediate, advanced, top, and peerless. Those under -million are junior, those under -million are intermediate, those above -million are advanced, the Shishibukai are top level, and the Yonko are peerless. Tian Li saw 4 of them die at once, and got 4 chances to draw. He was really happy. Among them, there are actually Superman-type devil fruits and animal-type devil fruits, which is really unexpected. However, the Haki and nature devil fruits did not appear. It seems that the system also considers these 2 to be the most powerful and heaven-defying ones in the One Piece world. Chapter 3 Start practicing. But come to think of it, these elementary level Superman-type devil fruits and animal-type devil fruits are not very good, right? although it is said that people who only have waste do not have the fruit ability of waste. But Tian Li remembered that there was an animal-type poisonous weasel devil fruit ability in One Piece, and his ability was fart, that is, poisonous gas. Not to mention the power of this ability is too disgusting. So there is still a difference between this devil fruit. The bounty system prompts that the host now has 4 opportunities for primary draws, whether the dormitory draws 22%, 22%, 22%, 22%, 6%, 6%. After drawing it for the first time, Tian Li couldn't help but secretly cursed. It was really his mother's unlucky. Although he was still in a bad situation now, as the nephew of Sakazuki Akainu, a weapon of this level was his best. It's easy to get, and it's the most indispensable thing. It's really a wasted opportunity. Ding! The extraction probability of primary physical skills is 22%, the extraction probability of primary swordsmanship is 22%, the extraction probability of primary shooting is 22%, the extraction probability of primary weapons is 22%, the superhuman devil fruit extraction probability is 6%, and the animal devil fruit extraction probability is 6%. Start drawing and get the basic swordsmanship, the swordsmanship of Kabeji, the chief of staff of the buggy pirates. The sword skill is 1, acrobatics and fire breathing. He performs acrobatics by spitting fire from his mouth to attack his opponent. 2 acrobatics water vapor murder event, rolling up smoke and then attacking the opponent. 3 acrobatics kamikaze 100 top theater, spin multiple tops from your hands, and then send them out violently. 4 acrobatics mountain climbing, use a unicycle to walk on the wall, and then attack the opponent. 5 acrobatics. Enjoy the summer fireworks by jumping high into the air and then using another move. 6. The follow-up skill of wheel nirvana, acrobatics, and summer fireworks, jump from high altitude and stab the opponent directly. 7. Kui, spin monkey uses a wheelbarrow to spin up smoke, paving the way for the following moves. 8. The amazing policewoman trio's Tangian hot spring murder incident uses spinning monkeys to spin smoke and jump into the air to slash. After reading this, the thunder is really rolling. There are quite a lot of moves, but can I use them, if these jumping up and down, juggling-like moves are used? His cheap uncle Akainu, who wants to save face, will destroy him without anyone else taking action. Tian Li couldn't help but subconsciously touched his lower body. Damn it, it hurts. Is this a sword skill? Another lucky draw opportunity was wasted. Ding! The extraction probability of primary physical skills is 22%, the extraction probability of primary swordsmanship is 22%, the extraction probability of primary shooting is 22%, the extraction probability of primary weapons is 22%, the superhuman devil fruit extraction probability is 6%, and the animal devil fruit extraction probability is 6%. I started to draw, and I got the elementary unknown fishman karate. After being modified by people, the fishman karate can be practiced by humans, but its power is greatly reduced. The moves are: the Murloc karate gun wave shoots out water waves from a long distance, and its power is equivalent to that of a cannonball. Human karate Tang Soa's main fist uses the swinging fist style to generate a 360 degrees shock wave in all directions. Murloc karate Senkadal Shokan uses a fist powerful enough to split 1,000 tiles to crush the opponent. Muroman karate Samwa Shokan is a powerful right punch that uses all the strength of the body. Murloc karate is a striking move that knocks water droplets out of your hands by hitting the water. Murloc karate dash tiles roundhouse kick attacks the opponent with a roundhouse kick powerful enough to split dash tiles. Tian Li was in tears. He finally had a useful one, and he had 6 moves, 2 water moves, gun wave and water strike, which could be used to attack with sweat and long-range attacks. Karasoa Shokan, Senmiwa Shokan, Samwa Shokan are boxing skills, and Ermiwa roundhouse kick is a kicking skill. Although its power has been greatly reduced, fishman karate is fishman karate. No matter how powerful it is still a rare physical skill. 22%, 22%, 22%, 22%, 6%, 6%. Tian Lei couldn't help but look up to the sky and sigh, has my brother's character finally become strong? Looking at the banana-like animal devil fruit in my hand, I was really speechless. Although his character has exploded this time, Tian Li doesn't dare to eat it, although devil fruit is the fastest way to improve your strength. But again, do you dare to eat an animal-type devil fruit that is classified as primary in the primary system? What if something comes out, like a pug, a stinky weasel, etc., wouldn't it be terrible? Well, Tian Li thought about it for a long time, but still couldn't make up his mind. He had to put it away first. Let's increase the strength of our subordinates in the future, Now that we have physical skills, it's time to practice. Tian Li came to the training room where the Marines practiced. Look, it's Master Tian Li. What kind of wind is blowing today? Yes. It has been 3 years since Master Tian Li boarded the warship, and this is the first time I have seen him come to the training room. Me too. I really don't know what's going on with him. Look, Master Tian Li is starting to punch. This seems to be fishman karate. It's so impressive that I can't believe it. I think I came here on a whim to have fun. I'll probably be back soon. But half an hour later, Tian Li was still punching hard. At this time, Tian Li was sweating profusely. After all, Tian Li was still just an ordinary person. After fighting for half an hour, he was already exhausted. I was panting like an ox, and my limbs became stiff and sore. Every punch was like carrying 1,000 pounds. At this time, the training Marines in the training room had stopped and looked around Tian Li. They wanted to see how long Master Tian Li could last. Some of them had even made bets on how long Tian Li could last, but 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed, and 3 hours passed. Although Tian Li was sweating profusely, he still kept punching. At this time, the onlookers of the Navy also looked at Tian Li with admiration. They also practiced little by little. They also know that Master Tian Li is an ordinary person, and his ability to persist until now is entirely dependent on his own willpower. A person with such willpower, as long as he perseveres like today, his strength will not be weak, and with General Akainu as his backing, his future achievements will be extraordinary. Chapter 4, Small Accomplishments in Cultivation. It wasn't until the warship's morning break notification bell rang that Tian Li stopped, holding his legs that were filled with lead, and walked towards the kitchen step by step. The navies watching from behind, whether they were ordinary navies or admirals with military ranks, all looked at where Tian Li walked, leaving footprints made of sweat. Now they all admire Tian Li a little, because they can't do this either. Tian Li, on the other hand, ignored them. He only had one goal now, which was to rush to the kitchen and eat a big meal to make up for the lost energy. The kitchen has become accustomed to Tian Li's arrival. After all, Tian Li has been coming here 3 times a day for a while. But they soon discovered something was wrong, because Tian Li ate a little too much and too fast today. No, it wasn't a little too much, but a lot. After a while, there was a pile of empty plates in front of Tian Li. These Navy chefs were stunned. They didn't understand how Master Tian Li became so edible today. Only the major among the Navy chefs could see something, because he saw that Tian Li's whole body was soaked with sweat, and he also saw that the muscles on Tian Li's arms twitched from time to time. He knew it was caused by long-term intense training, but he didn't understand why Master Tian Li had gone so crazy that he actually started training with such intensity. After Tian Li finished eating, he took a bucket of water from the kitchen and returned to the naval training room. He started training again, but in the afternoon he trained on kicking. He hit 10 consecutive blows with his left leg and 10 consecutive blows with his right leg. He kicked the sandbags in front of him like a storm. If one sandbag broke, he would hit the second one. The third, repeated this, and then practiced the 2 moves of gun water and water striking. But instead of using water brought out from the kitchen, I used the sweat flowing from my own body. After all, when fighting, it is impossible to bring it with you anytime and anywhere. Hold a bucket of water, and the water in the bucket is to replenish yourself. In the evening, I exercised the strength of other parts of the body. Fortunately, the Navy training room in the hospital has a lot of training equipment, and the types are also very complete. First, weight-bearing training, such as weight-bearing dumbbells, strength training, endurance training such as chest press, shoulder press, triceps training, leg extension, abdominal muscle board, abdominal back training, compound chest training, plate squat, and leg clamp. These days, Lei Dao is very familiar, and there is not much difference between these days and his previous life. If Tian Li used to be a guy who liked to eat, drink, have fun, and do nothing, then now it is just the opposite. He is a cultivation maniac who only knows how to practice. In the next month, except for the 7 hours he slept at night, whenever the Navy came to the training room, he could see Tian Li practicing crazily. He was so crazy that he outshone everyone. Even the Navy, who had previously claimed to be a practicing madman, felt inferior. Tian Li's change surprised all the Navy. They couldn't figure out why he changed, but after they were surprised, they were all very happy. They were happy for their General Akainu. Although no one else could or dared to say anything, it was still embarrassing to have such an incompetent junior. But no matter how good Tian Li is, he only wants to do one thing now: practice, practice, practice again. Even though his body was soaked with sweat, Tian Li would think about the battle at the top every time he wanted to rest. How could such a big scene and such a classic event be without him? But if you don't have the strength to go, it's no different than seeking death. It's a big event where monsters are rampant. I am too weak now, so now we can only keep increasing our strength. Thinking of this, Tian Li's body was filled with strength and he resumed self-abuse training. He has also learned the human karate spear wave, Karasoa Shoken, Senghua Shoken, Samehua Shoken, water kick, and 2 Senghua roundhouse kick. Moreover, he has been training for a month, and Tian Li also wants to see how his results are this month. Tian Li arrived, and in front of the strength meter, he hit him with an ordinary punch without using any moves. Boom! The strength meter showed 50 strength. Tian Li couldn't help but nodded secretly. Tian Li was still very satisfied with this result. He had only officially trained for a month. You must know that Khalifa, who is the weakest in CP9, only has 600 strength. She has been practicing since she was a child. Afterwards, Tian Li measured his leg strength again. Bang! The strength meter showed 80 strength. It seemed that his leg strength was stronger. Trying the power of these moves again, Tian Li took a good posture and shouted, Tang Caowa Zhang Fist Boom! This sound was much louder than the previous blows. The force dynamometer showed a value that made Tian Li quite satisfied. 120 force was already a superhuman force. Next, Tian Li looked forward to the next few moves even more. Boom! 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 After several consecutive moves, Tian Li called to himself. I also have a clear understanding of the power. Qunmihua Zhengchuan 150 strength. Samehua Shoken 180 strength. 2000 watts roundhouse kick 200 strength. Gunwave 200 strength. Hit the water with 30 force. The more Tian Li looks at it, the happier he gets. In particular, the power of the 200-watt roundhouse kick and gunwave actually reached 150 strength, which was really strong. He was considered to be somewhat powerful, of course only among pirates with a bounty of hundreds of millions. In the navy, those under the rank of rear admiral have a certain ability to protect themselves. Senghua Shoken and Samehua Shoken are also 2 moves with 180 and dash power. It's just hitting the water that makes people speechless. It only has 30 strength, which is worse than an ordinary punch. What can these 30 strength do? I'm afraid it can only hit ordinary people, and people with a little training can block it. It seems that it can only be used as a feint. I have been practicing continuously for a month and have achieved some results. I will take a break today and balance work with rest. Tian Li returned to his room in a hurry. But the Marines in the training room were shocked. They saw Tian Li's test, and they were stunned when the first ordinary punch hit 50 force. It's only been a month and you already have such strength. Thinking back to when they started practicing from scratch to reach 50 strength, it took them nearly a year, or even more. The next data shocked them. The highest strength actually reached 200. Very few of them came here, and only the school-level navy had this strength. After a while, Master Tian Li started to practice, and he was a training genius. He could achieve 200 strength in 1 month of training. The news about the great genius soon spread throughout the warship. Chapter 5 Meeting Akainu for the first time. Tian Li was in his room, and when he was about to take a rest, a major general came to the door of General Akainu's room, knocked on the door and said, Report. Akainu, come in. The major general heard Akainu's voice and entered the door. I have seen General Akainu, I have something to report. Akainu said calmly, Oh. What's the matter? Major General, it's about Master Tian Li. Akainu, what happened again? You still can't handle these things? He is just an ordinary person. The Major General said hurriedly, It's not General Akainu, it's Master Tian Li who has changed. He has been practicing in the training room for the past month. I heard someone report it a long time ago. I thought he was just playing around. But I didn't expect that there would be someone today. Report to me, Master Tian Li has not only been practicing crazily this month, but today he also took a strength test, reaching a maximum strength of 200. Akainu asked with a surprised look on his face, Major General Archie, are you not mistaken? Have you been practicing Tian Li for a month? Have you achieved a maximum strength of 200? You know, I didn't have such a result when I first started practicing. Major General, I didn't believe it before, so I went to investigate. It turned out that Master Tian Li took a few simple training equipment from the training room almost 2 months ago. I think he started practicing at that time, and a month later so he went to the training room to practice, and he practiced like crazy compared to anyone else. The most important thing is that Master Tian Li did hit 200 power. All the sea soldiers practicing in the training room saw this. And it couldn't be false. After 2 months of training, he hit 200 power. With dash strength, he is already a top genius in the Navy, so I feel I must report it to you. After confirming the matter, a rare smile appeared on Akainu's face. He secretly thought that after practicing for 2 months and hitting 200 power, he was indeed a top genius in the Navy. I thought that in our class, it was me and Aoji Kyuzan. Only 3 people, including Kizaru and Polo Salino, have such a cultivation speed. I wanted to see how this nephew who had disappointed me so much before suddenly figured it out. Akainu, Major General Archie, go and call Tian Li over here. Major General Archie, yes, I'll go right away. After a while, Major General Archie arrived at Tian Li's door. Is Master Tian Li here? I'm Archie. Tian Li, who was lying in bed and wanted to wake up, heard Archie and his eyes lit up. He learned from Qian Xiang's memory that Major General Archie was Akainu's confidant. It seems that his performance today has reached the ears of Akainu, otherwise Major General Archie would not be able to come to him. Tian Li immediately jumped up from the bed, opened the door and said, Major General Archie, what do you want from me? Although Tian Li had already guessed it, he still asked symbolically. Major General Archie, Master Tian Li, General Akainu, please come over. Tian Li also wants to see his cheap uncle. After all, this will be his biggest supporter in the future, and he also likes Akainu very much. Although Akainu is very radical, he is also very strong. None of the previous Navy marshals has been as aggressive as Akainu in front of the 5 old stars. Soon Tian Li and Archie. The Major General arrived, Akainu's general room. Akainu, Tian Li, I know about you. I want to know what changed you? You must know that you hated practicing before. Tian Li, uncle, I grew up in the Navy headquarters. What you told me are all empty words to me. How pirates are vicious and how the Navy is just. It's too far for me. It's too empty, because I've never seen it. Even if you say how many people these pirates killed, uncle, in my eyes it's just an event, a few numbers and some people's names. Plus I with an uncle like you, a general, I can live very well even if I don't practice. Then why do I still practice? Isn't this asking for trouble? But it's different now. Some time ago, I went to watch your battle on a whim, and I saw with my own eyes how vicious the pirates my uncle mentioned were. And how cruel those who were hurt by the pirates were. It was so miserable. Only then did I understand what my uncle usually said, and then I understood why justice, and how much the world needs justice. This was a reluctant reason that Tian Li made up on the way here. Akainu nodded after hearing this. Okay, you can go out. I will start giving you practical training tomorrow. Tian Li was speechless and was led out by Archie again. This Akainu was really as cold as in the anime. If you talk more, you will die. The most important thing is, you should give me some benefits at least, an actual combat training. What kind of practical training? Fighting against an admiral, or go directly to fight the pirates? Tian Li was a little confused and asked Major General Aki, Major General Aki, what is the actual combat training tomorrow? Major General Archie, Master Tian Li, don't ask me. I just found out with you. But I know that General Akainu still cares about you. As soon as he knew that you started practicing, he started to arrange actual combat for you. Training? No one else has ever been treated like this. Have to, this question was in vain. Tian Li said jokingly, Major General Archie, please don't send me away. I am familiar with this place and can still find my own room. Major General Archie, that's right, Master Lei, I won't send you off that day. After Tian Li returned to his room, he immediately went to bed and fell asleep. He knew that these generals were all perverts, and the actual combat training they prepared was definitely not simple. So the most important thing today is to have a good rest, recuperate and prepare for tomorrow. Shortly after Tian Li woke up the next morning, Major General Archie came and knocked on the door. Master Tian Li, General Sakaisuke Akainu asked you to go to the deck. Okay. When Tian Li came to the deck, Tian Li saw Sakaisuke Akainu and a group of navy gates already waiting there, as well as 4 captured pirates. When Akainu saw Tian Li, he pointed at the four Tide pirates and said, Tian Li, this is your actual combat training today. Kill them and you will pass. Then Sakazuki Akainu pointed at the four pirates. A pirate said, and for you, this is an opportunity, because as long as one of you defeats him, then I will let you go. Tian Li was quite speechless when he heard this. Akainu is Akainu, and he really hates pirates. Using pirates as his companions is something that only Akainu, a radical and absolutely righteous guy, can do. Chapter 6 The First Battle with Pirates. After saying that, I saw General Akainu wave his hand, and a sailor immediately released one of the pirates. Tian Li was speechless, so direct, come on as soon as you come, I don't know anything. He said to Major General Archie with a grimace, can you tell me the identity and bounty of these guys? At least let me know who they are. Major General Archie turned his head and looked at Akainu. Seeing that Akainu didn't say anything, he replied, the four of them are, the captain of the Black Heart Pirates, Gaka, the captain of the Turbid Snake Pirates, Noisy Snake, and the captain of the Coal Pirates. The captain of the group is the Mad Swordsman Fujiwara Yan, and the captain of the Skeleton Pirates is Black Skull. The bounties are 100 million, 250 million, 300 million and 500 million respectively. They are all guys who do all kinds of evil. Tian Li couldn't help wiping a cold sweat after hearing this, and secretly thought that it was okay. He was really afraid that Akainu would be as perverted as Garp. You must know that Garp threw Luffy down when Luffy was very young. Abyssal. Although this Akainu is capable of reaching million levels right from the start, for someone like Tian Li who has never fought before, he is still a bit abnormal. But compared with the treatment Garp gave Luffy, it was much better. What's more, Tian Li was a killer in his previous life and had no fighting experience at all. So for the current Tian Li, he is no longer so abnormal. Akainu, okay, let's get started. The first person to come up is the captain of the Black Heart Pirates, Gaka. This is a 2-meter tall little giant-like man. He is, well, not to mention, unsightly. Jaka didn't expect that he would have a chance to regain his freedom. Seeing that Tian Li was just a little kid of 14 or 15 years old. He was even happier. He pressed towards Tian Li with murderous aura emanating from his whole body, and said in a cold voice, little guy, surrender. Otherwise I will smash you to pieces. Tian Li couldn't help but laugh. He had killed a lot of people in his previous life. How could he be frightened by this murderous intent? He ignored it directly, and instead said with a smile on his face, you are so ugly, how dare you come out to meet people? You are really brave. As soon as Tian Li's witty words came out, all the marines present laughed. Even Akainu couldn't help but smile and said, this guy really hasn't changed. Jaka was furious and roared, boy, you are looking for death. At the same time, he punched Tian Li and attacked him. Naturally, Tian Li is not afraid. If this little pirate with only 100 bounty dares not to confront him head-on, then there is no need to hang around in the world of One Piece. He immediately hit him with a straight fist, bounce. Tian Li and Jaka each took a step back. Tian Li now has a good idea in his heart. It seems that these 200 pirates have not yet become superhuman, so it is not difficult for him to deal with them. He immediately started to counterattack, starting with the Tang Kaoa fist move. This move is an attack move that uses a swing to generate a 360 degrees shock wave in all directions. In addition to quickly dodging far away, he can only block it hard. Jaka had been angered by the thunder just now. The first blow was with all his strength, but it was still as good as the little kid opposite. Then I saw Tian Li quickly attack with an all-round shock wave. Jaka could only block it, but his strength was too poor to block this move and he was directly knocked into the air. Naturally, Tian Li, who was born as a killer, would not let go of such an opportunity. He immediately jumped on the deck and shot towards Jaka. An ordinary flying kick hit Jaka's abdomen. Although this thunder strike did not use any moves, it was not something someone of Jaka's level could withstand. Gaka screamed, and after being kicked away, he slammed into Akainu. Tian Li, who was standing still, saw the direction in which he crashed and knew that he was in a tragedy. He couldn't help but make a cross on his chest and recited Namo Amitabha for him. Sure enough, Akainu did not hesitate to slap Kaka hard, and then Tian Li saw Kaka turn into a star in the sky. The faces of the remaining 3 pirates suddenly turned dark. They couldn't help but think that it seemed like they couldn't lose, otherwise the outcome wouldn't be much better. The expressions of the marines did not change at all. They seemed to have become accustomed to it. Tian Li couldn't help but feel sad for the pirates who met the General Akainu. Major General Archie saw Tian Li's performance and couldn't help but said to Sakaski Akainu, General Akainu, although this Jaka is indeed much worse than Master Tian Li, Master Tian Li can solve it so cleanly. It shows that Master Tian Li's fighting talent is also very strong. Archie is here to congratulate General Akainu. Akainu just nodded his head, his expression didn't even change, he was still as if someone owed him a lot of money, and he ordered in a cold voice, next one. This time, the captain of the turbid snake pirates came out, and the bounty was only 250 million, which was not much better than the previous one. These are all nameless little shrimps. And Tian Li doesn't want to waste time with them anymore. It just flew away with a flying kick. The noisy snake was not afraid and also counterattacked with a flying kick. Even the noisy snakes are not afraid, and Tian Lei is even less afraid. But just when Tian Lei and noisy snake's legs hit each other, noisy snake immediately made a squeaking sound, which was very similar to the sound of a snake spitting out a message. Out of a killer's intuition, he immediately exerted force on his waist, turned his waist, and immediately changed the direction of his kicked leg. There was no contact with noisy snake's legs, but in order to prevent noisy snake from chasing after him, when Tian Lei turned around, he used water attack in his hand, which turned into a rain of arrows and shot at noisy snake. After Tian Li stabilized his body and took a closer look, he broke out in a cold sweat. He finally understood why this guy was called Noisy Snake by such a silly name, even though he was a tough guy. Because at this time, the noisy snake's legs had turned into a snake, and it was also a big snake with a bloody mouth. The purple fangs in the snake's mouth looked very poisonous. If it takes a bite, it will definitely not be a good thing. It will cause serious injuries even if it is not dead. It seems that this noisy snake has eaten the noisy snake fruit in the devil fruit. This fruit is not bad at all, but what makes people speechless is that it makes a sizzling sound every time its body turns into a snake. No wonder it's called a noisy snake. Besides, isn't this a reminder to the enemy that something is wrong? Tian Li looked back and saw Major General Aki. Major General Aki spread his hands in front of Tian Li, saying that General Chuan was responsible for all this, but he didn't know anything. Noisy Snake said proudly, "Boy, give in. This will save you the hardship. You must know that there is no antidote for being bitten by a snake like me." Tian Li turned around and looked at Noisy, "You are a person who has eaten a devil fruit, but you still have so little strength and you seem to be showing off. If you just jumped into the sea and committed suicide." Chapter 7 The First Partner. Noisy Snake was so angry that Tian Lei couldn't even say anything. Not to mention, he himself knew that he was probably the weakest devil fruit user. Pointing at Tian Li, You. He kept saying. The navy heard this and laughed loudly. These marines followed Admiral Akainu to fight everywhere, and they had never seen any kind of devil fruit power. However, let alone, this noisy snake was really the worst devil fruit power user they had ever seen. Master Tian Li, you are absolutely right. This is the weakest devil fruit user we have ever seen. That's it. That's it. I've never seen such a poor devil fruit user. Noisy Snake listened and shouted, "You bastard, if you want to die, I will help you. Look at my snake whip." Noisy Snake turned into a snake's legs, suddenly grew longer, and whipped towards the sky thunder like a long whip. "Come over." Tian Li doesn't have the armed domineering energy to protect himself. If he bites him, he won't be able to escape. It seems that I can only use long-range attacks. Fortunately, I also have 3 long-range attacks. Tian Lei first used Tang Cao's fist, and used the shock wave of Tang Cao's fist to deflect the noisy snake's attack. Then he continued to use water strikes, throwing out water droplets and turning them into arrows to attack the noisy snake. The noisy snake is also very capable. Its 2 hands turned into 10-meter-long snakes and acted as 2 long whips. It waved it and blocked all the water attacks of Tian Li. But Tian Li's main attack is not this move. After all, Tian Li still knows the power of this move. The water attack was just a feint, used to disrupt noisy snake's eyesight. Tian Li saw the right moment, and used Tang Cao's fist attack to shake noisy snake's 2 dancing snakes away, and immediately took advantage of noisy snake's defense to be the moment he found the flaw. He used his full strength to hit the same Washokan right in the chest of noisy snake. Bounty system prompts. The reward is to draw primary items once. With these words appearing in his mind, Tian Li immediately knew this blow, and he was directly coing this noisy snake. But having said that, isn't it a pity that the miserable guy who was beaten out by Sakaski before, it's just one less draw. The bounty system prompts that the host now has a chance to win a primary lottery, whether the dormitory will be drawn. No, Tian Li immediately rejected it. After this attack, Tian Li understood something. It was better not to show off before he was strong enough. Wouldn't it be okay to just KO his opponent with one full blow? After you can't defeat it with one full blow, it's not too late to solve the fight again. Just like this noisy snake, he struck with all his strength, but this noisy snake couldn't block his blow at all. Will there be such trouble in the future? Tian Li immediately said, next one. It was just a good time to test whether his idea was right. The mad swordsman Fujiwara Yan, the captain of the color pirates, stood up, but he did not step forward. Instead, he said coldly to Major General Archie, sword. Major General Archie glanced at Akainu and saw that he had no expression, so he took a sword from a major on the side and threw it to Fujiwara Yan. This Fujiwara Yan looked ordinary before he held the sword, but once he got the sword, Fujiwara Yan was different and became sharper. Tian Li's pupils couldn't help but shrink. Tian Li could see that Fujiwara Yan was a real swordsman, but would such a swordsman be a person who does all evil? He couldn't help but ask, Major General Archie, what crime did Fujiwara Yan commit? Major General Aki glanced at Tian Li in confusion. Although he didn't know what Tian Li meant, he still replied, this man was originally a navy, and then he killed his superior officer and became a pirate. It is really a heinous crime. Tian Li, can Fujiwara Yan tell you why? Why did you kill Shang Guan? Fujiwara swallowed coldly and said, we won't talk until we defeat the sword in my hand. When Tian Li heard this, he suddenly became heroic and shouted, okay. Take the move. After saying that, Tian Li shot the strongest spear wave towards Fujiwara. Fujiwara swallowed, chaos wind slash. The 1000 water right fist attacks again. Cut with one word. Fujiwara Yan showed no sign of weakness. Same Washokan Tian Li struck with all his strength and immediately blocked Fujiwara Yan's attack. He immediately jumped up and kicked out the most powerful blow, 2000 watts roundhouse kick. It opened Fujiwara Yan's defense, and then Tian Li, who was still in the air, immediately threw out a gun wave, a bullet made of water. The flying shot hit Fujiwara Yan, who had no time to defend. Fujiwara Yan glanced at his left shoulder that was penetrated, and said coldly, I lost. The bounty system prompts that the mad swordsman Yan Fujiwara, the captain of the color pirates with a bounty of 300 million, voluntarily surrendered, and the reward will be to draw primary items. Tian Li said again, isn't it time to talk about yourself? Fujiwara swallowed, Shang Guan, you colluded with pirates and harmed the people. There is no way to appeal, so kill. Tian Lei broke into a cold sweat after hearing this. His answer was so simple and clear, it can also be cold. Tian Li turned his head and looked at Sakaski and said, Uncle, I have taken a liking to this guy. Help me check whether what this guy said is true. If he is, he will be my partner and he will also be on my future warship. A swordsman. As soon as Tian Li's words came out, everyone was shocked. Even Sakaski was stunned for a moment. He was very happy with Tian Li's change. In this way, he could be considered worthy of his elder brother who died because of him. Moreover, Fujiwara Yan's qualifications were quite good, so he said to Major General Archie, Archie, go check it out. Then he said to Tian Li, okay, Fujiwara will follow you after swallowing, okay. Next game. The last one came out, the captain of the skeleton pirates with a bounty of 500, Black Skeleton. This guy became famous as soon as he appeared. This guy actually pulled a bone out of his own body and used it as a weapon. Seeing this scene, Tian Li thought of the corpse veins in Naruto. They are exactly the same. Is this a devil fruit? You, sister, have stepped on so much shit. 2 of the 4 guys who are at the bottom among pirates actually have devil fruit abilities. Tian Lei, who was quite depressed, stamped on the ground and flew towards the black skeleton, followed by a full-strength 2000 tile roundhouse kick. He kicked the black skeleton hard, and after hearing the sound of cracking bones, the black skeleton fell to the ground. Tian Li was stunned for a moment. What is going on? At this time, Major General Archie said, congratulations to Master Tian Li for breaking through again. This black skeleton is a person who only relies on the fruit's ability, and everything else is scum. He is also an ordinary person who has eaten the devil fruit. As long as his strength reaches 300, you can break his defense. Defeating him is like stepping on an ant. Chapter 8 Goal, the strongest single ship in the navy. Tian Li shed a drop of cold sweat. In this first battle, how could he encounter 2 top players in a row? Are they all ordinary people who have eaten devil fruits? if you don't practice physical skills well, you won't even develop your fruit abilities properly. Tian Li felt like he was in a dream, a bit unreal, until familiar words appeared in his mind. Bounty system prompts, the reward is to draw primary items once. Only then did Tian Li confirm that he had directly KO'd this black skeleton. The bounty system prompts that the host now has a chance to win a primary lottery, whether the dormitory will be drawn. No, Tian Li immediately rejected it, so let's go back to the room and try again. Akainu, okay, everyone else has dispersed. Tian Li is coming with me. Tian Li said to Major General Archie, Archie, please arrange a room for Fujiwarayan and find him a sword. Thank you. Follow Akainu to his general room. Tell me. What is your goal? Tian Li looked confused. Hey. Akainu, no one in our navy talks about partners, because this is what the pirates use. We will only use subordinates, colleagues, friends, and brothers to call them like this. Tian Li was stunned after hearing this. Sakazuki didn't think he wanted to be a pirate, did he? I'm not stupid. If you really think this way, wouldn't I be immediately turned into ashes by you? Besides, I really don't want to be a pirate, Tian Li, uncle, because I want to form the strongest single ship in the navy. I will have many generals, many lieutenant generals, and even several generals on my warships. They are my partners, and I will take them with me to hire them. With the Great Channel, we will clear away all evil. It is about clearing away all evil, not all pirates. For pirates like Luffy who only explore and do no evil, the Sky Thunder will not move. Akainu was stunned when he heard Tenrei's goal, and couldn't help laughing. This goal is not that difficult. It's not much worse than becoming a navy marshal. Akainu's ambition for Tenrei is I appreciate it very much, because the greater the ambition, the greater the future achievements and strength. After all, this is the driving force for everything. Tian Li, well, uncle, when can I have my own warship? Akainu, it depends on what level it is. The highest is an admiral level warship, and the worst is a captain level warship. It's just some small pirate ships that have been modified. Then how can I become a captain right away? Tian Li asked immediately. Akainu, all generals are directly promoted, with the power of 1 major general, 2 colonels, 4 lieutenant colonels, and 8 majors. The captain is no longer available, but I can arrange one for you as a major, as well as your major level warship. Tian Li, thank you so much, uncle. Akainu, then where do you want to start your journey? Let's go to the East China Sea. My current strength is not enough to survive in this great waterway, but I believe that I will return here soon, because my stage is on this great waterway. Tian Li said truthfully. When Tian Li said this, Sakazuki became even more satisfied with Tian Li. Okay. A person must recognize himself and correct himself. Only in this way can he live longer. This is the training of the 6th form of the Navy. Fa, now we are going back to the Navy headquarters. Now you have 2 choices. First, I will give you the major and the warship immediately, and you can go out for training immediately. Second, you can stay at the headquarters and practice the 6th form of the Navy. When you learn these 6 moves into 3 moves, the headquarters will give you the rank of major and a warship, and you can lead your warship away. Tian Li is not stupid, so he naturally knows what Sakazuki means. One is nepotism, the other relies on strength. Tian Li picked up the 6th form of the Navy and said, then I'll go practice first. Akainu looked at Tian Li who was going out and smiled. He was now more and more satisfied with his suddenly awakened nephew. After Tian Li returned to his room, he started drawing 3 draws, thinking silently in his mind to start the draw. Ding! Start drawing, and get the elementary swordsmanship nameless 1 sword style, sword moves, 1 word / sword draw, water cut off. Tian Li saw that these 3 moves were good. After all, it is necessary to have a weapon before there is no armed domineering, and with more moves, he can better face different situations. Ding! Start drawing and get a pistol. A pistol, Tian Li feels bad, okay, just ignore this. Ding! Start drawing and get a Superman devil fruit. This time, Tian Li's mouth was watering again. Another devil fruit was of the Superman type, but unfortunately it was still a junior level. Therefore, Tian Li could only endure the pain again and put away the superhuman devil fruit. After Tian Li had done this, he came to the naval training room again. This time, all the sailors who saw Tian Li no longer had the contempt in their eyes, and their attitudes were more respectful than before. Tianli could see that these navy respected him from the bottom of their hearts, but Tianli knew that what they respected was their strength, so Tianli paid more attention to his own strength. I can't help but secretly think that one day I will stand at the top of this world office. Entering the naval training room, Tianli saw Fujiwara Yan was already practicing inside, but he saw that the swordsmanship practiced by Fujiwara Yan was not very good. Although a good swordsman creates his own sword moves, when he does not have his own sword moves, a good set of sword moves is the best way for a swordsman to increase his strength. Tianli, Fujiwara Yan, did you create your own sword moves, or did you learn them somewhere? Fujiwara Yan, it's from the village, taught by the swordsman. The village swordsman. Not everyone is as lucky as Rorozoro and can meet a master swordsman in a small village. Therefore, Fujiwara Yan's sword moves are probably not even as good as the sword moves of the Wuming Ikan style that he just drew. Chapter 9 Naval Headquarters. Tianli said seductively, facial paralysis, I have a set of sword moves. There are 3 moves in total. Although they are not very good, they are better than yours. Do you want to learn them? Sure enough, for a swordsman, swordsmanship and sword moves are all fatal temptations. Even when Tianli told him that his face was paralyzed, he didn't pay attention. Sword moves, take them out and see. Tianli said with a smile, there is no sword manual, but I remember the sword moves, and I will show them to you. But I am not a swordsman, and it will look ugly when I use them. Don't laugh. After saying this, Tianli started to fight. There are 3 sword moves, word chop, knife draw, and water cutting. Although Tianli used the sword for the first time, so the fight was strange, but even so, Fujiwara swallowed it all after just reading it once. Moreover, it is made to have a look and feel, and it has full attack power, instead of being something like Tianli that can only be looked at. Then Tianli felt unbalanced, so Fujiwara was unlucky after swallowing it. Tianli said, facial paralysis, I said I taught you a set of sword moves, shouldn't I show it to you? Fujiwara swallowed, facial paralysis? Who has facial paralysis? Express it. What do you mean? Tianli, you have always been expressionless, what else is it if you don't have facial paralysis? Anyway, that's what I'll call you from now on. As for expression, of course I taught you a set of sword moves, and in return you are mine from now on. A swordsmanship teacher. Tianli, swordsmanship teacher. Fujiwara swallowed like this. No, it was facial paralysis. Sadly. He became Tianli's swordsmanship teacher. Shave, one of the 6 styles. Stomp on the ground more than 10 times in 1 instant, 0.36 seconds, and use the explosive speed generated by the reaction force to move. Invisible to the naked eye. Iron block, one of the 6 forms of defense techniques. Inspiring strength into a well-trained body, giving it the hardness of iron. Not even bullets or swords can break it. The only drawback is that you can't move freely when using iron blocks, except for Gabra. The principle is to speed up blood flow and speed up muscle movement. Paper painting, one of the 6 forms of evasion techniques. By detaching all the strength from the whole body and using the changes in airflow caused by the opponent's movements, he can dodge attacks directed at him at the most critical moment. Moon step, one of the 6 styles. Shaving application tips. It is similar to Wudang Qinggong ladder cloud zone. Kick in the air while jumping, changing the trajectory before falling. With this kind of aerial movement technique, you can launch attacks from the air without leaving any blind spots. Lan Jiao, one of the 6 styles of foot skills. Instead of kicking the enemy to inflict damage, it uses the vacuum created by the ultra-high-speed kick to slash. Finger gun, one of the 6 styles, a technique that claims to have the power of a gun to fire bullets. Concentrating all the strength of the whole body on the index finger, he used the hardened finger to strike with lightning. The fingertips have the attack power of bullets and can easily penetrate the human body. In the next 3 months, Tianli began training for the 6th form of the Navy. Tianli practiced the 6 postures of shaving, iron block, paper painting, moon step, land kick, and finger gun, among which passing can be regarded as the simplest. Tianli quickly perfected this move, but unfortunately he still couldn't use it freely. After using it a few times, his legs couldn't bear it. Since I have learned how to shave, I have some experience with the moon step. As long as I am proficient in using the shaving technique, it is not difficult to master it. It's still the iron block move, and the sky thunder is on this move. It can be said that it has the highest talent, and it is not only usable. Although it still can't move freely like Gabra in CP9, but it can be used individually on various parts of the body like Garp. For example, you can use iron blocks on your fists and legs before attacking, and the attack power will be greatly increased immediately. However, you still cannot use them perfectly. You still have to practice hard. Maybe you will become the next naval hero Garp. You must know that the one who has refined this move to the extreme is the strongest in the navy, the naval hero Garp. It can be said that he has refined the iron to his bones. Every attack has the shadow of this move. At the same time, Garp also fully embodies a powerful move. We also know why Garp's fists are so strong. With iron, armament, domineering, and huge strength, how can it not be strong? It's a pity that I still don't know how to be domineering. But nothing is perfect. Tian Li is completely indifferent to the remaining 6 forms of paper painting, orchid kicks, and finger guns. It seems that there is no chance. Fortunately, Tian Li's talent for swordsmanship is not bad, and he can now master the 3 moves of the nameless one sword style, one word slash, sword draw, and water break, and the power is not bad. But compared with a person with swordsman qualifications like facial paralysis, the difference is too far. This guy has already reached the iron cutting stage, which is almost the same as Rorozoro who just came out. 3 months later, Akainu arrived with Tian Li and facial paralysis, and the Navy headquarters met the Buddha in the Warring States period. As soon as he entered the door, Tian Li saw Aokiji and Kizura drinking tea, and of course eating donuts. In addition to the 4 of them, there are also cranes, flying squirrels, ghost spiders, huashaishan, tea dolphins, peach rabbits and a powerful lieutenant general. Especially Crane and Daoto. Their strength and status are extraordinary. Needless to say, Crane was a member of Buddha's Warring States period and Garp's generation, and Daoto later became a member of the reserve generals. Needless to say, their strength and status were different. But there is one thing Tian Li doesn't understand: why are there so many people? You must know that the probability of these people gathering here in the Warring States period is too low. Could it be that something big happened? When Tian Li looked at them, they looked at Tian Li, and of course the facial expression behind Tian Li. Garp, the 2 people behind you, Akainu, are Tenrei who has qualifications that are not weaker than those of you, King Zi, and Kizuru, and Fujiwara Yan, who has qualifications as a swordsman. Hearing what Garp said, Tian Li and Mianpai immediately said, Habing Tian Li, Kabing Fujiwara Yan has met the marshal. Sengoku first said to Fujiwara, the matter of Fujiwara swallowing you has been found out. Your rank of captain will be restored from today. Facial paralysis, thank you, Marshal. Tian Li, congratulations. Facial paralysis. Garp, facial paralysis? Is that a name? A nickname? Who cares? I like it. Ha. 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 Then he started eating donuts again. Crane, Tian Lei, right? I heard that you have good talents in 6 forms, taijutsu and swordsmanship, but your uncle, General Akainu, is always arrogant in front of us. But what he said is a bit exaggerated. We can't believe it. After all, such talent is rare in the entire sea. The emergence of one is a major event for the entire navy. After all, it is the future of the navy. Upon hearing this, Tian Li understood that no matter which force he belonged to, he valued a top talent very highly and could not tolerate any mistakes. So Tian Li immediately stretched out a fist and shouted, Iron! Chapter 10 Choosing a Warship. Although there is not much change in the body after using the iron block, there is still a slight change. People present are very familiar with the 6th Marine style, and they can see this change at a glance. The flying squirrel, ghost spider, huashaishan, tea dolphin and peach rabbit were all shocked, and Aoki pheasant and Kizuru couldn't help but stop drinking tea, even though they had heard Sakazuki boasting there more than once before. But they really couldn't believe it. After all, they had known about this thunder before, but what they knew was completely different. They knew that the highly motivated Sakazuki had a nephew who was idle and waiting to die. And for such a person, he suddenly started practicing, and he was still a guy with incredible qualifications. No matter who he was, he would be suspicious. If it weren't for Sakazuki's solemn vow, they would never believe it. But what do they see now? A 6th-style genius who can apply iron blocks to local areas. The only one who can do this is Garp. Oh, no, I heard that the newly recruited CP9 also has several 6-position geniuses, and one of them can do it, but there are only 2 of them. This is the entire navy. Warring States and Lieutenant General he looked at each other. It seemed that this child should be protected well. He would definitely be the backbone of the navy in the future. At worst, he would be a lieutenant general, and there was hope for a general. Garp also stopped eating donuts, his eyes almost popped out of his head. "You kid, you are good enough. I also spent 3 years practicing iron blocks to do it back then, but you only took 3 months, not bad, you are qualified to enjoy my Iron Fist of Love." As soon as Tian Li heard Garp talk about Iron Fist of Love, he thought of the strings of meat buns on the heads of Luffy and Fire Fist Ace. Immediately, I felt a chill all over my body. When I saw that Garp was no longer in his seat, I immediately had a bad feeling. Tian Li subconsciously blocked the top of his head with an iron fist. The next moment, Kang! A sound of metal intersecting rang out above Tian Li's head. Then there was an irresistible force that suppressed Tian Li's fist and hit Tian Li hard on the head. Ah! Tian Li immediately put his head in his hands and let out a scream. Looking at Garp, who had returned to his position, Tian Li thought with tears in his eyes, "Luffy and Ace, 2 brothers, I understand your pain. If I had such a grandpa, I would have to be a pirate too, because this way you can live longer, otherwise, you might get knocked on the head by this perverted grandpa at some point." Before Tian Li said anything, Warring States became angry. "Garp, please pay attention to me. I won't talk about you if you eat donuts. At least you look like an elder in front of the juniors." Unfortunately, Sengoku's roar was of no use to Garp, who was still fighting his favorite donuts. Warring States had no choice but to ignore him. "Tian Li, I heard Sakazuki said you want to go to the East China Sea, right?" Tian Li, "Yes, I want to go out and experience it." Warring States lowered his head and thought for a moment. "So be it, I'll give you the rank of Lieutenant Colonel and be stationed in Rog Town in the East China Sea. It's the only way to get to the Great Waterway from the East China Sea. I think there will be a lot of pirates to give you experience." Tian Li immediately became happy when he heard about Rog Town. If Rog Town were to be included in the game, it would be a holy place for you to collect treasure chests, but isn't this the territory of Smog the Smoking? I checked the time in my mind, and realized that it would still be some time before Smoker was sent away. Warring States saw that Tian Li was silent and asked, "What, you don't want to go?" Tian Li said quickly, "No. No. I am so willing to go. There is no place in the East China Sea that is as good as Rog Town." "That's good. I'll break the line again and give you a general class warship, and then send you a major navigator and 500 soldiers from the Navy headquarters." When Tian Li heard this, he realized that it was a general's military badge and a major navigator's badge. In order to win his heart, he really spent a lot of money. No, this major navigator probably wanted to spy on him. But it didn't matter because he had no intention of becoming a pirate. "It would be great," Tian Li thanked the marshal. "Then when can I leave?" Seeing Tian Li's impatient look, everyone present laughed knowingly, thinking that it would be the same when they got their first warship. Warring States, "Any time." "Really? Then I'll set off now, I can't wait any longer," Tian Li said eagerly. Warring States, "You are too hasty. Can you not be in a hurry, brother? I'm in a hurry to clear the treasure chest and draw the lottery. I have a goal, which is the awakening factors and cultivation methods of Overlord Haki, Armed Haki, Knowledge Haki, and of course the powerful Devil Fruit. Of course, these cannot be said, I can only say, the experience must be as soon as possible. Only in this way can I return to the Great Channel as soon as possible. Only when I get there can I receive more powerful partners and complete my mission better and faster. Dream. In this case, I will write you an order to choose your warship, I will send the others there to find you right away." Tian Li pointed his finger and said, "Can I take this paralyzed swordsman away? This is the first partner I have taken in Warring States, let's go together." Tian Li chuckled, thanked the marshal, and bowed to the big guys present, before coming to Akainu, "Uncle. I will definitely spread justice to every place I go." Sengoku didn't say a word, just waved his hand coldly, but Tian Li could still see from the slightly raised corners of his face that he was very happy. After all, such an expression was all ready for Akainu. Facial paralysis is the limit. After Tian Li walked out with the paralyzed swordsman, Sengoku couldn't help but said to Sakazuki, "I mean Akainu, at least you can say a few words of encouragement." He looked at Sakazuki just after he said that dead face, speechless, others couldn't help but laugh. Tian Li came to the port and gave the instructions given by Senguo to the rear admiral guarding the port. The rear admiral was stunned for a moment after receiving the instructions given by Senguo. After that, he took a deep look at Tian Li. He also saw something interesting here. This was the first time he saw Marshal of the Warring States period assign a general-level warship to a lieutenant colonel as a special case. The Major General quickly took Tian Li to a place full of new warships. The warships here were dazzled by Tian Li, but none of them satisfied Tian Li. In the world of pirates, warships are half the home of the navy, and most of the time is spent on warships. Tian Li doesn't want an iron lump, that would be too boring. Tian Li couldn't help but ask the Major General, "Your Majesty, Major General, don't you have some special warships?" "Rear Admiral, you can just call me UNC. There are some special ones, but those are not new warships, nor are they orthodox warships. They are modified from some captured pirate ships." Chapter 11 Battle of Warships. Tian Li's eyes lit up when he heard this. "What I want is the pirate group's ship, because the ships of the pirate group are often very individual. Then I would like to trouble Major General Genzi to take me over and have a look." After walking for a while, Rear Admiral Genzi pointed to a dozen modified pirate ships not far away and said, "These are the general class warships. Let's see if there are any that you are satisfied with." This is also Genzi. The young general intends to intersect. Otherwise Tian Li would have no choice but to pick and choose. Yuanzi can simply designate one ship. Tian Li's eyes just glanced, and his eyes stopped on the third ship, and he could no longer move away. This is a warship similar to a yacht. In the front quarter, there is a platform with a ring of platforms on the edge of the railing, which is just right for sitting. There is also a small swimming pool in the middle, and there is also a circle of platforms around the swimming pool. It can be said to be a good place to hold a small banquet. The last two quarters are a large square-like place, which is suitable for ordinary navy training. The middle quarter is a three-story building, with rooms on both sides of the ground floor. The middle is empty and serves as a passage connecting the bow and stern of the ship. The second floor has rooms on both sides and a cab in the middle. Both sides of the third floor are open air, with some fruit trees planted, and there is a small room in the middle, which is probably the captain's cabin. It can be seen that the original owner of this warship must be a person who knows how to enjoy himself. The only drawback is that there are two sails on this perfect warship, which is a bit unsightly, but there is nothing to be done about it. In the world of pirates, there are always sails. Tian Lei pointed at the warship he was interested in and said, "Rear Admiral Genzi is the only one." Major General Genzi's expression changed immediately when he saw Tian Li choose the warship. He also did not expect that with so many warships here, Tian Li society would choose this one. I couldn't help but have a headache, and looked embarrassed. This. Tian Li looked at Major General Genzi's expression and couldn't help but ask, "What are you doing? The warship has an owner?" "That's not right. The warship with an owner is not parked here, right? It's simple because this one was ordered by my young master. Can such a good warship be owned by someone like you?" Tian Li is not an unreasonable person. If someone is sure that this warship has been decided, even if it has not been officially handed over, no matter how much he likes it, he will not grab it. After all, Tian Li still knows that it is first come, first served. But when he heard what this man said, Tian Li felt unhappy. This warship brother was really determined. Tian Li, "Oh? It seems that you haven't officially handed it over yet. In principle, this warship is not yours yet, so anyone can compete for it. I was assigned by the Warring States Marshal himself." "Who assigned it to you?" Hearing Tian Li's words, the three people coming from the opposite side couldn't help but be startled. Was it authorized by the Warring States Marshal himself? The three of them looked at each other and it seemed that they were having a tough time this time. But they are not vegetarians. You must know that their fathers are all middle-level and high-level generals in the navy. The worst one is also a lieutenant general. The uncle of the leader is Tetsuyama Yaki. In the navy, he is a lieutenant general. It is also the top one, just worse than the general. Thinking about the courage of these three people, I can't help but become more courageous. I really want to order this warship, but with the permission of the Warring States Marshal, I can't grab it forcefully. In the blink of an eye, I had an idea. Boy, let's do this. Since everyone is interested in this warship, why don't we compete with each other and win and own this warship? The leader was very proud of himself. I am a major general, and you are a middle-aged man. I don't believe how strong you are. And NB.SP, after hearing this, the two people behind him couldn't help but give a thumbs up to the leader. He immediately cooperated. Boy, don't you dare to do it. After hearing this, Tian Lei and Mian Peng glanced at each other. They could see the contempt for these three people in each other's eyes. They were not stupid, so they could naturally see what these people were planning. What made him even more speechless was that he used such an obvious method to provoke the general. Facial paralysis immediately stepped forward, but was stopped by Tian Li. Facial paralysis and the others are looking for them, you can't look for my business. He didn't take these three people seriously in his words. The Taoist, then you agree? Then let's go to the competition stage. Although Tian Li didn't know where the competition platform was, he imagined it and said coldly, no need, just stay here. I'll challenge the three of you. I'll make the first move. The three people on the opposite side were stunned for a moment, and then laughed, as if they had heard a big joke. You are the only lieutenant colonel, and you are picking on three of us? I think you are looking for death. The worst among us is also colonel. Tian Li was too lazy to talk nonsense with them. He shouted, shave, and disappeared in an instant. Among the three people who were still laughing, the Major General reacted first and said immediately, be careful. Unfortunately, it was too late. Tenrei had already appeared. Among the three of them, the colonel was facing the front. He struck the colonel with the iron Samewashokan, the iron Samewashokan made after using an iron block on his fist. Ministry, and beat the colonel away. However, Tian Li did not use all his strength this time, otherwise he could directly KO the colonel, but just like that, the colonel couldn't stand up for a while, and his face was already swollen. The remaining two people looked at it dumbfounded, and then cursed, how dare you sneak attack? The words of these two people not only left Tian Lei and Mian paralyzed speechless, but also Major General Zhen Zi. Wasn't he already reminded to start the attack? It's just you who are still laughing so proudly. Okay, the most important thing is that even if the colonel blocks a frontal attack, he may not be able to block it, right? If he had heard the name of the move shouted by Tian Li, Iron Samewa's fist sucking was not an extended move of the iron block in the 6 moves. Tian Li rolled his eyes at them, shouted again, shave, and disappeared from the spot again. Appeared behind the colonel and kicked him in the back with a roundhouse kick of 2,000 pieces of iron. He was knocked unconscious and flew out. At this time, the Major General on the opposite side was already frightened. Even he did not have the strength to deal with a colonel and a colonel so quickly. After all, he also comes from a family of the Navy. Although he has not learned the 6 forms, he is very familiar with them. Naturally, he can also see that what Tian Lei is doing is the most difficult physical technique in the Navy to learn, the 6 forms. Extended skills. Although he is a Major General, he can only barely reach the level of General. He can be regarded as one of the worst Major Generals. Tian Li didn't care what the Major General was thinking. This time he didn't use the shaver, but stamped on the ground and shot towards the Major General. First, he uses Tang Kao's fist to attack with all-round shock waves. Of course, he was a Major General anyway, so there was no way this move could hurt him. He crossed his arms and blocked the attack, but the shock wave knocked him back again and again. Chapter 12 Official Departure. However, Tian Li's attack could not end so quickly. He immediately jumped into the air and launched a 2,000 iron roundhouse kick, which hit the Major General's arms hard. There was a sound of boom. The Major General actually resisted and was not injured, but his body was still kicked away. Because the thunder was kicked from top to bottom, the Major General left a drag mark on the ground. Tian Li, who was in mid-air, turned around and fired another wave of spears. If the Major General, who had lost his balance, could dodge, he would not be able to stop it this time and was shot through the abdomen. Tian Li looked at his fist and couldn't help but think that it was really satisfying to win with one blow. It seems that simple and rough attack is the way to go. It seems that I won't need too many moves in the future. In addition to practicing some sword moves in case of emergencies, the 6th form of the Navy and the Fishman Fist are enough. Major General Zhen Zi looked on in shock. This was the first time he saw such a fierce lieutenant colonel. He actually defeated a colonel and a senior colonel in seconds, and even beat up a major general. Now he finally understood why the Warring States Marshal would make a special case to give Tian Li a lieutenant colonel with a general-level warship. Tian Li walked up to Major General Zhen Zi without even looking at the 3 people on the ground. Can we drive this warship away now? Yuan Zi looked at the miserable 3 people on the ground and couldn't help wiping a cold sweat for them. At the same time, he reminded Tian Li, you can leave the warship, regardless of the order of your Warring States Marshal or the subsequent gambling battle. This warship should all be yours. But let me remind you, these 3 guys are all people with backgrounds, so you have to be more careful in the future. It's good if we can drive away. I can't wait to go to sea. Tian Lei looked indifferent. Facial paralysis, go and see why my people haven't come yet. After you see them, ask them to move some food, medicine, weapons, etc. No need, it's going to come later. Mian Ping's words were as simple and clear as ever. Tian Li looked behind him, and sure enough he saw a group of sailors, led by a beautiful major, carrying various supplies. He knew without thinking that they must be people sent to him by the Warring States period. But what I didn't expect was that the Warring States period would send him a female major, and she was also a beautiful woman. She has short brown hair that reaches her ears, big eyes, thin eyebrows, and a cherry mouth. She should have been very delicate and cute, but the undisguised desire to conquer in her eyes and the unique sense of solemnity of a soldier brought her natural temperament to the fullest. The major came to Tian Li. Major Yukata arrived on the order of Marshal Sengoku. From now on, I will be the navigator on Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li's warship. Please take care of me. The sailors behind him also immediately put down their things and came. He gave a beautiful salute. I have seen Lieutenant Colonel Chi. Yukata is a very lovable name, not bad. You will be my second partner from now on. Finally Tian Li pointed at his face and said, this is my first partner Fujiwara Yan. You can call him my second partner, is a crazy swordsman. Fujiwara's facial paralysis became even more paralyzed after hearing this introduction. Moreover, Colonel Yuki and Major General Genzi were stunned. Isn't the partner called a pirate? Tian Li looked at the two people in a daze and said, what are you looking at? Why don't you move everything onto our warship? It's the third ship. Hurry up. I just finished beating someone, so I'm waiting for someone to come over and be scolded. At this time, Yukata and the newly arrived sailor discovered that there were 3 more people lying on the ground. It looks like the injury is serious. The most important thing is that of the 3 people lying down, one is a colonel, one is a senior colonel, and one is actually a major general. It seems that the lieutenant colonel I am following is no ordinary person. While Yukata and the sailors were shocked, they also had a hint of joy on their faces. After all, following a powerful commander would allow them to live longer and have more chances of making meritorious deeds. After being stunned for a while, Yukata and the sailors quickly finished loading their things. They didn't want to stay at the Navy headquarters anymore. It was too boring, not to mention there was no chance to make meritorious deeds. Naturally, I will not miss the opportunity to go out this time. After all, they are the soldiers of the headquarters, and they will also be the soldiers of the headquarters wherever they go. The warship quickly launched. Tian Li stood in front of the warship, looking up to the sky and laughing. From now on, this warship will be called the strongest. Together we will become the strongest in the world. We will be the strongest navy. Single ship. Now we set off for our first target, the East China Sea. All the sailors said in unison, yes. These sailors were worthy of being the elites of their headquarters. They figured out the warship in a short time and began to set off towards the East China Sea. Only then did Tian Li remember something. He turned his head to the shore and was still a little unable to recover. Major General Yuanzi shouted. Major General Yuanzi forgot to say. If the 3 people on the ground are not convinced, just come. I, Tian Li, will be with you at any time. But if they want to find me backstage, let them go to my uncle Akainu. Genji's face suddenly turned bad after hearing this. General Akainu, no wonder such a little monster appeared. It turned out to be General Akainu's family. Then he looked at the 3 guys lying on the ground with a sad face. It seemed that these 3 guys had no hope of revenge. If the others were better, even the 2 generals Aokiji and Kizaru, Lieutenant General Huo Shaoshan would probably go and reason with him, but Akainu would not dare to go even if he borrowed a few more courages from him. Because if Huo Shaoshan goes to Akainu about this matter, Akainu will definitely let him know what absolute justice looks like. Yuanzi, come here, send these 3 guys for treatment. And he himself came to the Warring States side. Warring States, Yuanzi. Shouldn't you be arranging warships for Tian Li now? The arrangements have been made a long time ago, and Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li has already set off. Was there something unexpected? As soon as Akainu heard what Genzi said, he immediately said, accident? What accident? Warring States, Akainu, why are you so anxious? Didn't you hear Genzi say that we have already set off? Being able to set off means everything is fine. He turned to Genzi and said, tell me what happened. Genzi, the juniors from Tenli and Huashua were interested in the same warship at the same time, so there was a bit of a fight. Tian Li didn't say, was it me who arranged it? Sengoku asked doubtfully. He said it, but he didn't give up yet. He proposed to compete with Tian Li. Whoever wins will get the warship. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of everyone present changed. This was a slap in the face of the Warring States period. This shows that his arrangement is not working. Kizaru, yo. 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 It seems that Akainu, you are really lucky. I actually know that the junior who burned the fire is a major general. Since he doesn't even pay attention to the arrangements of the Warring States Marshal. Your Sky Thunder can drive away warships, it's really interesting. Kizaru's point shocked everyone, and they all looked at Major General Genshi. Yuanzi said with a speechless smile, Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li is not flattering at all. He killed a colonel in one move, and a senior colonel in another. In the end, the Major General did not block 3 moves. One person can pick 3. It only takes a few breaths. Chapter 13 Black Cat Pirates. Akainu, does Tian Li have such strength? Could it be that this kid has a trick in front of me? I don't know about this, but I saw that he combined the iron block extension technique in the 6 moves with the fishman karate, and the power was greatly increased. But his fishman karate doesn't seem to have been modified. Not a real fishman karate. I suggest finding a real fishman karate for Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li, so I think his strength will definitely increase greatly again. Yuanzi said. After listening to Genshi's words, Sengoku and Akainu were thoughtful. At this time, Lieutenant General he asked, Yuanzi, you have seen the strength of this Tian Li, how many moves do you need to defeat it? Lieutenant General he, you think too highly of me, and you underestimate Tian Li too much. It's good that I can take him down, but a few moves are really not enough. An's current strength is rare among major generals. Even I have to pay the price. As soon as Genji said this, Sengoku immediately said, I agree that the fishmen have joined the alliance, and no one is allowed to use them as slaves. At the same time, tell Jinbei that the training method of fishman karate is the condition. Garp, Sengoku, you are spending a lot of money. What, you think it's not worth it? Ha! 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 Everyone laughed. While they were chatting, Tian Li was already having fun. It would be great to have his own warship. A month later, report to the Lieutenant Colonel that we have arrived at the East China Sea, and a pirate ship was found ahead. Judging from the pirate flag on it, it seems that the Black Cat pirates have been destroyed. Tian Li was happy when he heard this. It seemed that his luck was really good. There will be business as soon as it comes. It's not right, aren't the Black Cat pirates the first mini-boss that Luffy and the others fought, but why is their pirate ship here? Isn't there Captain Locke in Usopp's hometown? I really can't figure it out. Who cares? Once on board, he said, everyone listened to the order and moved forward at full speed. Let me catch up. All Marines, yes. Lieutenant Colonel. Tian Li discovered the Black Cat pirates, and the Black Cat pirates naturally saw Tian Li's warship. A pirate named Luoluo ran over and said, the vice captain is bad, there is a warship chasing us behind us. Zhongjao, hey? In the East China Sea, is there a navy that dares to chase pirates? Where did they come from? Buledenji came up and said, whatever. If you go up and kill them, won't that be the end of it? Sam, that's right, no matter what. You must know that Captain Locke said that we cannot be exposed. Now that these navies see us, they must die. Zhongjao didn't want to be troublesome at first, but when he thought of Locke, he couldn't help but trembled all over, change sail and fire on the warship behind. Boom! 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 Cannonballs fell beside Tian Li's warship, and some fell in the sky above the warship. The paralyzed swordsman made a leap, and the sword at his waist was immediately unsheathed. The sword light flashed, and the cannonballs were fired one by one. They were cut in half one after another. Seeing Tian Lei turn around and attack his warship, the Black Cat pirates couldn't help but wonder, isn't this the weakest in the 4 seas, why do you join the navy as soon as you see it? But this is just right, you don't have to chase it yourself. This one. Yu Li Tian Li is not idle either. He has already mastered the moon step, but it can only be used at a short distance, and the speed is not very fast. If the Black Cat pirates don't turn around, 10 Li's can only rely on warships to chase them, and Tsukibu really can't do that. But it's different now, the Black Cat pirates are coming over. Tian Li, facial paralysis, you and Yutaki, guard the Zeon together. I'll go meet these daring guys. After saying that, Tian Li jumped up and stepped towards the Black Cat pirate house in the air. Leave as a group. The Sky Thunder was getting closer and closer quickly, and the people of the Black Cat pirates also discovered the Sky Thunder in the sky. A little Luo pointed in the air, Vice Captain, there is a flying one flying towards us. As soon as he finished speaking, Ben Sam was slapped to the ground. What the hell are you talking about? Is there anyone who can fly? He glanced at the direction that little Luo was pointing at. All right? Is there really someone flying in the air? Sam's eyes almost popped out of his head. Zhang Jiao and Buzzy asked, what? They couldn't help but look towards Tian Li. At this time, the Sky Thunder was already in the sky above the Black Cat pirate ship, and it suddenly landed on the Black Cat pirate ship. He asked curiously, isn't the boss of your Black Cat pirate group in Sarap village? Why are you wandering here? Zhang Jiao, Sam, and Buji were already stunned when they saw Tian Li flying down from the sky. Now they were completely stunned when they heard Tian Li's words and stammered, how do you know that our captain is in Sarap village? Is there anything in this world that I don't know? The hypnotist Zhang Jiao, the vice-captain of the Black Cat Pirates, has a bounty of 900 million. I will give you two cat-like guys, the fat one is Buthy, and the thin one is Sam, is the strongest combat member of the Black Cat Pirates, I'm right. After a while, they came to their senses. Sam said, no matter how he knew it, he must die now, otherwise Captain Locke will not let us go. Buladenji and Zhang Jiao looked at each other, brother, come on. Sam was the first to rush forward, stretching out his claws towards Thunderclaw. Tian Li couldn't help but smile, he was really brave, but these guys could just test the defensive power of their own iron blocks. Suo Tian Li had no intention of hiding, and immediately shouted, iron. Sam couldn't help but be startled when he saw Tian Li refusing to dodge, and then he laughed. It's best not to dodge, it's done with one blow, but the reality is often unexpected. Sam's claws were on Tian Li's body, and he only heard a sharp sound, like the sound of scratching a metal plate. Tian Li touched the area on his body where Sam had attacked him and found that only his clothes were torn and nothing else was injured. Gang Tian Li couldn't even feel pain. Tian Li was very satisfied with this, and he also probably knew his own defense power. Tian Li looked up at the three people who were already stunned, smiled coldly, and rushed towards them. Seeing Tian Li charging towards him, Sam and Butchie had no choice but to fight. They attacked Tian Li from the left and right. The most ridiculous thing was that Zhang Jiao actually took out his hypnosis tool and used it on Tian Li. He stood up and said, look at my eyes, look at my eyes. Tian Li couldn't help but shed a drop of cold sweat on his head. Only Luffy, a stubborn guy, could fall for this move. He immediately waved his hand and fired a gun wave, which penetrated Zhang Jiao's heart and defeated him by KO. Tian Li didn't have a good impression of the Black Cat Pirates, and he had no intention of letting them go before he came here. Chapter 14 Arriving at Rog Town. The two brothers, Butch and Sam, were quite fast. When Tian Li fired the gun wave, one of them came from above, the other from below, and they both attacked with double claws. Tian Li, no matter what kind of attack they were, immediately came up with a golden chicken independence with his left leg, and kicked Buji with his right leg in the air, blocking his attack. With his right hand, he used all his strength to use the iron thousand pieces of Watt's right fist and struck out hard. After hearing two caca sounds, the claws on the hands of brothers Butch and Sam were all broken, and then they flew out fiercely. Tian Li came to the sky above Buladenji. With Buladenji's frightened expression, he kicked him hard and knocked him out by KO. Then he quickly shook his hand and fired another wave of gunfire, shooting through Sam's head. Bounty System Prompts, the reward is to draw primary items once. The bounty system prompts that the host kills the Black Cat Pirates Deputy Captain Zhang Jiao and the main combat team members Sam and Buji with a bounty of 900 million, which inspired the side mission of defeating the Black Cat Pirates captain and saving Sarap village. Reward for Intermediate Movement Training Method, Catwalk, does the host accept it? I was stunned when I heard it. Is there still a mission? Pick up, it must be picked up, Locke's Catwalking Thunder is still very coveted. With it, he might be able to combine it with the shave in the 6 postures, and it will become silent when using the shave. Bounty System Prompts, host accepts, defeats the captain of the Black Cat Pirates, saves the side mission of Sarap village, completes the mission within 1 month. To reward the Intermediate Movement Training Method Catwalk, 1 million Baileys will be deducted for failure. What? There is such a punishment for failure? Damn it, I don't have a hair on my body, how can I get 1 million Baileys? Fortunately, there is only 1 month, and this task is more than enough. The bounty system prompts that the host fails after accepting the task. If it does not have 1 million Baileys, it will be wiped out or the little brother will be shortened by 10 centimeters. This system prompt scared Tian Li. There are number 1 million Baileys, either he will die or his little brother will shorten, damn it, he will shorten by 10 centimeters. Although Tian Li is still very confident in his ability, if it is shortened by 10 centimeters, no matter how big the eagle is, it will become a small sparrow, which even a man can't stand. Isn't this forcing buddies to make money? Isn't this forcing my brothers to commit corruption? Brother is a good person. After reading this, Tian Li raised his head and glanced at the other members of the Black Cat Pirates. They were all scared now. In their eyes, the vice-captain, Sam, and Butch are the strongest people besides Captain Lock. But now the three of them together can't stop Tian Li's moves. How dare they move? Tian Li glanced over and immediately knelt down one by one. We were wrong, Lieutenant Colonel, please don't kill us. Tian Li, where is the treasure room of your pirate ship? Take me there. Tian Li was led by the pirates to the treasure room and saw that there were only 500 million belly, some gold and silver jewelry, and others. There was nothing left. Tian Li couldn't help but secretly cursed and said, "You're still a pirate. It's his mother's bunch of poor people." By the time Tian Li came out of the treasure house, Yokota and Menpeng had already approached the warship, and all the pirates had been tied up. This pirate ship is worth some money at least. Don't waste it. You can take some of it with me. The man piloted this pirate ship and followed Arzian to Rog Town. After hearing Tian Li's words, Yokota couldn't help but think that his boss wouldn't be a money addict. But facial paralysis didn't want to just say nothing. He looked at Tian Li with disdain and said, "I'm a money fan. What's wrong with being a money addict? I'm still a money addict. If you're paralyzed, ask someone to move all of this to my captain's cabin." Soon the warships and pirate ships arrived at the port of Darog Town, and then the system text appeared in Tian Li's mind again. The bounty system prompts that the host has arrived at the Rog Town station to guard Rog Town, and the bandit suppression mission has begun. Protect Rog Town and destroy all bounty pirates in the East China Sea. Success rewards a set of advanced sword moves, Piaoxiu, one of the 52 skills. Looks like you have something to play with. Sword moves and famous swords. This is a naked temptation, no. Speaking of famous swords, there are two in Rog Town. One is Sangui Tetsu, and the other is its Snow to Go. Kaiditsu. One of Roronoazoro's three swords. The knife with the narrowest blade and the largest curvature among the three is characterized by a small piece of white cloth on the handle and scabbard, it seems to be a cloth strip, and a blade with strange flame-like patterns on the blade. It is a property. The blade is 88 cm long, 1.7 cm wide, and the blade is only about 0.8 mm. The upper and lower handles are 22 cm long and 2 cm wide. The scabbard is 89 cm long, 1.9 cm wide on the outside and 1.7 cm inside. The guide system is not included in Kuai Dao's 52 skills, but it still belongs to Kuai Dao's level. Yokaize, one of the three swords of Roronoazoro. It is a more gorgeous-looking sword. It is one of the 50 good and quick swords. It was the heirloom sword of the owner of the prop shop. Because he admired Zoro, he gave it to him. However, when escaping from Judiciary Island, he was destroyed on the bridge by Colonel Xiu-En, the captain of the Navy headquarters, who has the rust fruit ability. Many people in the previous life regretted the destruction of this snow walk, and Tian Li naturally felt the same. After getting off the Xian warship, Yokota, please push the pirates back to the station, and you have also taken care of the handover of the station. I am not interested in these. Tian Li shamelessly acted as a hands-off shopkeeper. Yokota, Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li, this is against the rules. You must do this yourself. From today on, my words are the rules here. Tian Li said very domineeringly. Looking at Tian Li's look, Yokota knew that it didn't make sense, so he could only go about doing things speechlessly. It seemed that he would be busy in the future, who would let himself end up in such a mess? Facial paralysis. Follow me. Tian Li said. Facial paralysis, where to go? Would you like a famous sword? I know that there are two famous swords in this Rog Town, the third generation of ghost swords and Yokaizeo, one of the 50 masters of the good sword. Tian Li said seductively. The third generation of ghost Tetsu and Yuki Kakeru, one of the 50 masters of Ryokuai sword. Mian Ping's eyes immediately lit up when he heard about these two swords. No swordsman can withstand this. If Tian Li wants it, come with me. It took an hour to finally find the weapon shop where Roronoazoro went. This Rog Town is a big town. It is more like a city than a town. There are dozens of weapon shops. To be honest, I was able to find this weapons shop thanks to the unique appearance of the owner. Chapter 15 Snow and the third generation of ghosts are obtained. As soon as Tian Li and Mian Peng came in, the boss said very politely, Lieutenant Colonel and Captain, do you want to buy knives? That's right, boss, we are here to buy knives. Take out the best knife you have here. When the boss heard this, he immediately laughed, you two, wait a moment, I'll get it right away. After a while, the boss took out a few pretty good knives. The knives by Tian Li and Mian Peng are using now, I don't know how much better. But that's not what Tian Li and Mian Pai want, boss, please tell you directly. We are here to buy your family heirlooms, Snow and the third generation ghost. I am the youngest lieutenant colonel of the Navy headquarters. This is an outstanding swordsman in the Navy, and he will never bury these two famous swords. This is money. As he said this, Tian Li handed over the 500 million baileys he got from the Black Cat pirates. The boss was immediately embarrassed. To be honest, he didn't want to buy it at all. After all, even though they said so, he really didn't know what it was like. He didn't want his family heirloom to be entrusted to someone else. Tian Li, who has watched One Piece, naturally knows what the boss is thinking, and he wants to find a very qualified person to make his family's heirloom, the famous sword Shuizhe, famous in the world again. Boss, is there a place where we can show off our sword skills? After reading this, you can make a decision, okay? The boss originally thought that the two adults would force him to hand it over. After all, if the people do not fight against the officials, there is nothing they can do if they force themselves. But I didn't expect to show off my sword skills. It seems that he has investigated himself and knows his thoughts, and it seems that these two people are not bad, but if his sword skills are also good, it is not impossible to give them. Anyway, what I want is for my famous sword to become famous again. It doesn't matter whose hands it is famous for. Boss, two adults, please. After saying that, he took Tian Li and Mian Peng and walked out of the yard. After a while, Tian Li and Mian Peng walked out of the yard. By this time, the knife in Tian Li's hand had been changed. That's right, Shuet, one of the 51 Liang Kui Dao skills, is gone. Although the sword skills of Tian Li and Mian Peng are really nothing in the great world, there is still no problem in frightening this boss who has no strength. So the boss happily handed Yokozuku into the hands of Tian Li. Under the leadership of the boss, he went to the place where the broken swords were placed. He pointed at one of the evil swords and said, this is the third generation of ghosts. This is a sword. This is a demon sword, and its previous owners have not had a good end. Mian Pai couldn't wait for a long time. He immediately took the third generation ghost in his hand, took out the scabbard, and said coldly, that's because he didn't meet its owner. After saying that, Fang Pai kept stroking the third generation ghost. Che was holding the blade of the sword, and kept muttering, what a knife! What a knife! He almost drooled out. Tian Li covered his face. This is too embarrassing. You should be more reserved with your paralyzed face. After all, a swordsman must also have the magnanimity of a swordsman. Boss, I am now the chief boss of the navy stationed in Rog Town. If anything happens, you can come to me. If I am not here, you can find this guy. Tian Li pointed at the guy and said. The boss was immediately happy when he heard that there were still a bunch of ruffians in Rog Town. With the navy taking care of them, you no longer have to be afraid of them, and the monthly protection fee will be saved. Looking at the nymphomaniac who was still on the side, Tian Li still felt that it would be better to go back early to avoid embarrassment. Boss, let's leave first. After saying this, Tian Li pulled the face and returned quickly. Arrive at the naval base. A group of sailors gathered at the entrance of the naval base, as if they were waiting for someone to arrive. At this moment, another man dragged by one appeared in front of them. I've seen Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li. Yokota saluted and said, Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li, the handover of the base has been completed. There are 600 million Bailey people in reserve and 300 navy. Including the navy we brought, there are a total of 800 navy. Please check. Tian Li, I can rest assured that you are doing the work, there is no need to check. Now you take 10 people with me. The others will be managed by facial paralysis. Yokota stood up and said, yes. Tian Li was very satisfied with Yokota's performance, but he was quite unhappy with the one who was still obsessed with swordsmanship. He immediately kicked him hard, and his unprepared face was paralyzed and fell to the ground. Only then did he react and looked at Tian Li with a puzzled expression. Tian Li was completely speechless when he saw this. I will take Yukata out to sea to destroy the pirates, but you have to guard this place for me. The facial paralysis thought for a moment, waved the third-generation ghost in his hand and said, okay. I just want to get familiar with the third-generation ghost in my hand. I guess I will have completely mastered it by the time you come back. Tian Li looked at the third-generation ghost in his hand with a paralyzed face, and then glanced at Yukaize in his own hand. He couldn't help but think that he had taken away the third-generation ghost and Yukaize. What would Loro Zoro do? It seems a bit unkind, but it was impossible for me to give up. I could only say sorry to Roro Zoro in my heart. Tian Li suddenly thought of another thing. Later, two pretty good pirates appeared in Rog Town, Bartolomeo and Desiadot, especially Bartolomeo. After eating the barrier fruit, he is also quite powerful. Although I don't have a barrier fruit, I still have a superhuman devil fruit. Judging from Ambassador Romeo's performance in developing barrier fruits, it shouldn't be too bad. As long as he takes him under his command, he will rarely have a strong man of the major general level on his side. Facial paralysis, while guarding this place, help me find two people. Their names are Ambassador Romeo and Desaya. They are gangsters here. After you find them, let them join the navy. If they don't agree, you can use force. Yeah, I'll take care of it when I get back. Although Tian Li didn't know what he wanted to do with these two people, he still said with a paralyzed face, let's call them Ambassador Romeo and Desaya. No problem, when you come back, I will let you see two qualified people. From the Marines. Half a month later, a small town was bustling with activity. A man and a woman appeared here. That's right, it was Tian Li and Yukata. They got the news that the Arita pirates appeared here. When Tenrei and Yukata arrived at the port here on the Black Cat pirate ship, they confirmed that the news was correct, because they saw the pirate ship decorated with swan heads and hearts. Ten Li, who had seen One Piece, recognized it at a glance. This was the pirate ship of the Alita pirates. Chapter 16 Fatty and Kirby. Maybe God wanted Tian Li to complete his mission as soon as possible. A fat woman walked across the street, leading the pirates who were looking for robberies in the shops on both sides. A pink-haired boy squatted timidly on the side, being robbed by a large number of people. Lessons from the crew, and the scene of the fat woman standing in the middle of the road laughing with a huge mace. Needless to say, these two people are the fat Arita and the coward Kirby. Arita carried a mace as thick as a human waist and laughed loudly, I really made a lot of money this time. Not only did I eat a lot, but I also grabbed a lot of good things. The money was even more abundant. What's more, it's such a wealthy town. Don't you think so, little Kirby? At this time, Kirby, who was being trained by other pirates, immediately ran over. He was trembling and said quietly, yes, yes. Lord Arita. The crew members nearby couldn't help but see the cowardly look of this kid. Laughed. Arita smiled even more proudly. Seeing this scene, Yukata immediately wanted to rush forward, but Tian Li stopped him. Yukata, who was stopped, looked at Tian Li in confusion, Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li. Now the pirates are robbing the civilians in this town. Why are you still stopping me? Tian Li, look carefully, they are just looking for robbery, no harm. The most important thing is that there are only two of us now, and there are nearly 300 of them. There is no way for us to get rid of them quickly. If we rush up like this, it will harm civilians. So we can only stand still now. After all, the civilians are only losing some money, which is better than losing human lives. What's more, aren't we still there? When they return to the pirate ship, we will deal with them and then take the money. Wouldn't it be nice to give it back to these civilians? Yukata was stunned after hearing this. She didn't think so much. Now that she thought about it, she was still too far behind. However, Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li, who usually didn't seem very reliable, became more reliable when something happened. The way Yukata looks at Tian Li is a little different. If she followed Tian Li because of the order of the Navy headquarters before, now she has sincerely followed Tian Li, because in her heart, only those who care about the common people are the ones. Justice. Yes. Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li. This cry of Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li was much more sincere than the previous one. Tian Li also noticed Yukata's changes and couldn't help but glance at her. Soon Arita and the others finished the robbery and walked towards the docked pirate ship while smiling. Tian Li and Yukata also followed a little bit. Fortunately, when they stopped the boat, they had an extra thought and stopped on the beach on the other side. Soon Arita and the crew entered the Miss Love Duck and directed the crew to set sail. At the same time, they did not forget to teach Kabi a lesson and let him do this and that. Tenli and Yukata got on the boat before them, while Tenli was a shave, but he didn't expect Yukata to follow closely behind. Tianli looked at Yukata with a surprised look. It seems that she still has certain qualifications. I also learned how to shave one of the 6 postures. Yukata, do you know other moves among the 6 moves? Tianli asked curiously. I can still point a gun, but I just learned it not long ago, and I can't use it casually like shaving. Yukata answered truthfully. Tianli, it seems that the Marshal of the Warring States period was really kind to me. He sent a beautiful sailor with good combat power. Haishi, I always thought that your strength was sailing, the combat power must not be any worse. By the way, I also have an animal-type devil fruit in my hand. This is the best devil fruit for practicing the 6 styles. Even Tianli himself wanted to get one, but now this one is a bit inferior, but it is for Yukata to use. It's just right. After we take care of these people, I'll give you a surprise. Tianli smiled mysteriously at Yukata. Yukata looked at Tianli without knowing why. Tianli shuttled through the cabin, but Alita's loud shouting on the deck could also be heard. I couldn't help but hum, this woman with a loud voice. After saying that, she rubbed her sore ear bones with her hands. At the same time, he said to Yukata, let's go and see their treasure room, there must be some good things. When Yukata heard this, he covered his forehead, thinking that after all, the money man was still a money man. As he walked down the steps until he reached the end of the cabin, Tianli's nose moved and his eyes flashed. If he guessed correctly, this taste should be Shen Nian's Roma wine, he smiled, it seemed like this was the treasure room. Sure enough, when I came in, I first saw 10 barrels of Roma wine, then gold, silver, and jewelry, and a large box of money, which Bailey estimated to be 1,000 million. At this time, Kabi was being intercepted by a large group of crew members. Tears welled up in his eyes, and he cried, I was wrong. I didn't mean it, I really didn't mean it, I'm sorry. Don't hit me again. An ugly-looking man stood out from the crew surrounding him. He said in a sinister tone, you said it wasn't intentional, right? Not only did you knock the bucket over on the deck, but it also splashed all over me. Hey! Kabi, you dead? Kabi's eyes were full of fear, and he said tremblingly, but that water is you, ah. Before he could finish speaking, the man who was more than half taller than him grabbed his head and lifted him up. Oh, let me go, please. I won't dare to do it next time. Seeing him being bullied, the crew members next to him had gloating written all over their faces. His body was suddenly thrown out by a strong force, and Kabi lay dizzy on the deck panting. The man snorted coldly, stepped forward, stepped on Kabi's head, and said solemnly, I'm telling you Kabi. Don't abuse it everywhere because you think you have some rights. Ask loudly, who am I, Li Ke, afraid of on this ship? Aren't you just looking after a few barrels of Roma wine? If I want to drink it, you can't stop me. At this moment, all the pirates around him responded and gathered around, punching and kicking Kabi who was lying on the ground. The man named Li Ke even laughed loudly, waved his hand and said, okay, let's go down below to get the wine and drink it happily. If the captain asks about it, he will say that this damn boy beat him up. It turned over. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's eyes immediately flashed with excitement. They dragged Kabi's arms and pulled him into the cabin with all their hands. Ah, and Kabi said a tragic cry. There is a reason why they do this, because in a regular pirate ship, wine, food, and money are not allowed to be distributed randomly, and these things often have a certain amount. In order to prevent other crew members from eating and stealing, the captain will also set up personnel to monitor them. Among the Alita pirates, Kabi is the only one who is extremely timid and doesn't dare to eat or steal. That's why Alita sends him to look after the storage room, which is also the treasure room. Chapter 17 Courage. Today Li Ke was trying to secretly drink Roma wine with a few good crew members, but Kabi caught him in the act. They held a grudge, and while the captain was sleeping, they found Kabi and secretly gathered the crew to teach him a lesson. The crew brought Kabi into the cabin, but they were afraid that he would tell the captain while they were drinking. Although Arita doesn't like Kirby very much, she is very strict with the crew members who steal things. Everyone kicked and carried Kabi as they walked. Kabi's clothes immediately became dusty due to the kicking and beating. At this moment, Kirby's legs were kicked again. His feet went weak and he fell down the stairs. With everyone laughing, Kabi rolled and fell down the stairs. Finally, with a clang, he fell into the last room in the cabin, the wine warehouse. As soon as he entered the wine warehouse, he only smelled a strong smell of alcohol. He secretly thought it was not good and quickly raised his head to look. And when he saw everything, Kabi's jaw almost dropped. The originally tidy wine warehouse has become a mess. Wine barrels of various sizes are placed in a haphazard manner, and the wooden lids have been pried open. And inside, there was not a drop left. Kabi's heart suddenly dropped to the bottom, and he secretly said, "It's over, it's over." Tears almost came out again. At this moment, he looked around the wine warehouse and caught a glimpse of two figures in the middle of the house. Kabi's body was trembling. Hearing the footsteps coming from the stairs, he gritted his teeth and walked towards the two figures. Step by step, before he could get closer, he heard a deep voice saying, "Who is it?" There was no trace of drunkenness in this voice. That's right, these two figures are Tian Li and Yuxituo. Tian Li was a person who loved adventure, excitement and challenges in his previous life. How could such a person not love drinking? In his previous life, he could drink 1,000 cups without getting drunk, but now it was even more incredible. The 10 empty wine barrels on the ground were the best proof. At this time, Kabi also saw the two of them clearly. He screamed, quickly covered his mouth, and said with a trembling voice, You are the Navy." At this time, Tian Li also looked at Kabi twice. He asked with some excitement, "Are you Kabi?" This Kabi is also a person with extraordinary qualifications. He joined the Navy and learned 6 moves. After the battle on the top, he even awakened the domineering power of seeing and hearing. Tian Li believes that as long as he is well trained, Kabi will become another warrior. Kabi nodded. Before he could ask him how he knew, Tian Li had already come to Kabi like a best friend, put his big hand on his shoulder, and laughed loudly, "You can't find anything after wearing iron shoes. It took no effort to get it. Kabi, I know you have always wanted to be in the Navy. I am Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li of the Navy headquarters, and I am currently stationed in Rog Town. How about joining the Navy here with me?" But before he could finish speaking, he heard several cold snorts coming from the door. Tian Li was quite unhappy. He hated others interrupting him the most. He pulled Kabi's shoulder and looked back, only to see a large number of strong men standing at the door. He snorted twice with disdain. He sneered, "You won't run away after seeing me? Are you looking for death?" This group of crew members didn't expect that the people in front of them were so arrogant. Even if they drank Roma secretly, they were still on someone else's pirate ship. Not only did he not show any fear, he actually took the initiative to provoke him. Bebop snorted coldly. "Although I don't know how you two Navy got on our ship, but this is our world, but you still dare to openly challenge us. If I didn't beat you to pieces, you wouldn't know how high the sky is." As he said that, a group of pirates around him immediately swarmed up. Kabi was so frightened when he saw this scene that he shook even more violently, and his eyes were filled with fear. Tian Li looked down at his appearance and couldn't help but shook his head. "Kabi is really a bear now," he patted Kabi on the shoulder and said, "A real man. Are you afraid of dealing with these scum? If you are a man and still want to be a Navy, please stand up for me." Just now they were far away, Kabi didn't have time to take a closer look at Tian Li's eyes. When he saw Tian Li's eyes full of righteousness and the handsome Navy Justice cloak behind him, he immediately seemed to have courage and straightened up his back. However, his legs were still shaking, and Tian Li was speechless. It seemed that he would need to exercise more in the future. On the other hand, Yukita looked puzzled. She really didn't understand. What did Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li see in this coward? He actually valued him so much and even encouraged him. While the two were talking, there were punches coming from both sides. Tian Li smiled disdainfully, and with great force on his feet, he jumped into the air and launched a big whip kick. He hit it hard and hit the pirate at the front. The pirate immediately flew out like a cannonball, knocking away the pirates behind him. It was a complete bowling ball effect, and everyone who rushed up was hit. The move is gone. As soon as Tian Li landed, he glanced at Kabi, who was paralyzed by everything in front of him, and slowly walked towards Bebop. Li Ke was stunned. He had hardly seen any strong people in the East China Sea, but now he saw the thunder like the god of war. Suddenly, as if the coward Kabi was possessed, his legs immediately softened, and finally he knelt down. Tian Li looked at his cowardly appearance, which was comparable to that of the coward's fighter, Kabi. He smiled contemptuously, looked down at Bebop coldly and said, "Go tell that fat woman. She said she has been arrested. If you have the ability, come here and fight me. If you don't have the ability, just throw yourself into the river and commit suicide. Don't let her look like a fat woman live to taint people's eyes." Li Kei's hair stood up at Tian Li's cold eyes, and he felt that it was a sharp light piercing his heart. Seeing that Tian Lei had no intention of killing him, Li Kei nodded immediately, thanked Tian Xie profusely, and ran out crawling. After seeing Li Kei leave, Tian Li came to Kabi and asked, "Hey! What's wrong with you? By the way, I forgot to introduce you. This person next to me is my navigator." Kabi was already in tears. "Thank you for saving me. How about it, do you agree to come to my side and join the navy?" "Kirby, of course. I just think that happiness comes so fast, it's a bit unreal." Tian Li patted Kabi on the shoulder again. "Men should stand up. Tears are for women. Look at my navigator. He is not afraid of a woman. You, a man, are crying bitterly. What are you like? You look good. But you will be looked down upon." Kabi glanced at Yukata beside him, who still looked calm, as if the terrible fight had never happened before. Chapter 18 Yukata takes action. "Thinking about my performance just now, I couldn't help but blush. Is it really that bad? Not even as good as a woman? No, if I want to be strong, I can definitely do it." As for the fat woman Arita, Kabi has just ignored it, because in his heart, the fat woman Arita is not a woman at all. Tian Li looked at the change in Kabi Shang's expression and was quite satisfied with it. It would be good if there was a change. After all, courage can be built up little by little. He smiled and said to Kirby, "Tell me why you want to be a navy and what your ideals are." Kabi thought about how he got through these days, and he still couldn't help the tears in his eyes, but there was a hint of perseverance on his face. Although his body was shaking, he said firmly, "I want to become a navy. I want to become a navy. I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill that fat old woman Arita." After hearing this, Tian Li raised his eyebrows and laughed. It seemed that he had made up his mind. "Okay. It's good that you know how to resist. If you want to be a navy, you have to protect civilians. But first of all, you must be strong. Otherwise, how about protecting them?" After speaking, he pointed at the corpses of the pirates behind him and said coldly, "What's wrong with that? People who kill at every turn should be killed with thunderbolts. You have to remember that killing evil is doing good. Of course, those who just want to grab something and don't know how to kill should be given a chance. Give it a try, after all, we are not murderers." Kabi was stunned by what he said, and the tears in his eyes gradually stopped. He gritted his teeth and said, "I understand, this world is about the weak and the strong, bullying the weak and fearing the strong." Tian Li, that's right, and people's hearts are all different. Even the navy has scum. Even the navy with a righteous heart is also different. For example, my justice is that the prince who breaks the law is the same as the common people. But now there are only I dare to talk to you, because I don't have enough strength to implement the justice in my heart. So you have to remember that justice requires strength to be implemented. The same goes for you." When Kabi heard Tian Li's words, he was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped to the ground. This kind of justice has never been thought of or done by anyone in this world. Even Yukata, who was watching the show, was stunned, but his beautiful eyes became dazzling. At this moment, a loud noise came from the door. Tian Lei looked back and saw an ugly, fat and freckle-faced woman standing at the door, glaring at them. The loud noise just now was exactly the sound of her breaking the door with the mace in her hand. After Kabi saw the woman, his body trembled visibly. He forgot about the despair he had just made, and moved his body back, desperately trying to hide behind Tian Lei so that the woman would not see him. However, she still did not avoid the sight of the ugly woman. When she saw Kabi with two marines, she said coldly, "Kibi, it seems you really don't want to live anymore. How dare you bring two marines, ha 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 ha. Do you think they can defeat me alone? It's so ridiculous." Needless to say, this ugly, fat, freckle-faced woman with a loud voice is Arita. But before she could finish speaking, Yukata smiled sweetly and said, "When I saw the photo on your reward list, I was thinking, how could there be such an old, fat and ugly woman in this world? But looking at it now, you really deserve your reputation. The real person is older, fatter and uglier than the photo on the reward list. By the way, are you really a woman?" Yukata is really good at keeping silent, but when she speaks, she will be astonishing. Kabi, who was behind Tian Li, opened his mouth and stared so hard that his eyeballs almost fell out. The other pirates were also stunned. Even Tian Li couldn't help but shed a cold sweat after hearing this. As expected, this job of cursing is only done by women. Yukata's scolding included old, fat and ugly, which are the most unbearable things for women. Finally, he even questioned whether she was a woman. This was extremely poisonous, probably no woman can bear it. Originally, Arita hated people calling her ugly, but now she is not only ugly, but also fat, still old, not even a woman, how could she endure it? He immediately raised the huge mace, roared, and rushed towards Yukata. While charging, he cursed, "Damn guy! How dare you scold me? I'm going to smash you into a pulp. Go to hell!" After saying that, the mace hit Yukata on the head. Tian Li didn't block it, but looked like he was watching a show. I didn't know Yukata knew the 6 styles before, so he might take action. Now, forget it. Kabi also reacted at this time, pushing Tian Li and saying, "If you don't go to save her, she will be crushed to death by Arita." Feeling a cold wind in front of her, Yukata's expression did not change at all. Just when Arita's mace hit her, she stomped her foot on the floor and shouted in her mouth, shaving it disappeared in an instant. Tian Lei's mouth curled up, and matched with his ghost eyes, there was actually a kind of terrifying magic power. From the direction of Arita, she happened to see his weird smile, and when she saw Tian Lei's eyes, the sledgehammer in her hand paused. Arita's mace was empty, leaving a big hole in the floor. At this moment, Yukata, who had disappeared, appeared in midair behind Arita. Seeing Arita's defenseless back, this is a great opportunity. Immediately, a foot came down from above, trampling Arita to the floor. Chi! Blood spurted out of Arita's mouth. At the same time, the floor that had been damaged by Arita could not withstand such power. Stuck! 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 There was a sound of the floor cracking, and Arita immediately fell to the next floor. She was already seriously injured, but this fall directly knocked the whites of her eyes. After turning over, he fainted. Kaba looked at the ugly woman who was so arrogant before. He fell straight down in front of him. The shock in his heart was far greater than the joy. This woman, in his eyes, was a god-like existence. She was so arrogant that everyone on the ship was afraid of her. She always forced him and asked him, "Am I the most beautiful woman in the world?" And every time, she would always say against her will, "Yes, Lady Arita is the most beautiful woman in the world." Although he said this, he always gritted his teeth secretly and thought, one day I must shout the truth loudly, one day I must defeat this woman with my own hands, and defeat all the bad guys in the world. Chapter 19 Accepting Kabi and Fatty. At this moment his belief was so firm, he wanted to be a navy, he wants to kill all the bad guys in the world, but just now, the woman who was a lieutenant colonel in the navy in front of her easily defeated a god-like existence in her eyes. Kabi's heart was extremely complicated. Could he really be worse than a woman? He secretly thought, is this what a real strong man is like? He was completely shocked after hearing Tian Li's words just now. But now, in his heart, full of admiration. Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li is right, this world is dominated by the jungle. If you want to carry forward the justice in your heart, you can only achieve it by becoming stronger and kill all the bad guys in the world. Thinking of this, Kabi couldn't help but slap himself twice. Why was he so timid and afraid of getting into trouble before? He clenched his teeth tightly, and due to excessive force, traces of blood oozed from his gums. He secretly swore that he would become stronger. Looking at Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li in front of him in the navy uniform he had longed for, Kabi seemed to be trying to muster up courage and make up his mind, shouting in a crying voice, "Please, please, please, let me join the navy. Let me become strong. Let me be strong enough to defeat them and defeat all the bad guys in the world. Woohoo! Please, Lieutenant Colonel Tian Li." Kirby was already like this at the end of his sentence. It's like roaring. Tian Li was still very satisfied with Kabi's current performance. He smiled and said to him, "Okay. I will take you to become stronger together. From now on, you will be the first-class private on my warship." Then he turned to Yukaradu and said, "I will leave it to you after he is gone. Train him well. And keep that old, fat and ugly Arita as well. Let the marines do the rest." We escorted them back to Rog Town and told them that these pirates should just be honest and kill them if they make the slightest move. And we will continue to make trouble for the pirates. Yukata looked at Tian Li in confusion. Everything else was understandable, but why did Arita stay? Kabi also had a similar expression, but there was more fear in his expression. Tian Li's words startled Kabi. He turned his head and took a look. Sure enough, Arita on the next floor had already moved. He quickly took 2 steps back and said in a trembling voice, "Lieutenant Colonel Yukata, you didn't just kill her?" After hearing this, Yukata glanced at Kabi with disdain, while Tianli smiled slightly and did not answer his question. Instead, he asked, "Are you still afraid of her now?" Kabi. Hearing this, Kaba lowered his head and fell silent. In his heart, Arita will always be a shadow, the scene where she bullied him in the past is still vivid in his mind. Tianli said with a gloomy smile, "That's right, she is a demonic obstacle in your heart now. One day you will no longer be afraid of her. This demonic obstacle will be broken and you will become a real man. If you can't get over it, I don't need to say more. That's why I kept her here to train your courage." After saying that, he jumped down and came to Alita's side. He grabbed one of Alita's arms with his hand, pulled it up, and easily lifted the woman who weighed several hundred pounds. Although he jumped again and returned to Kabi. At this time, Arita woke up. She no longer had the majesty and strength she had before, but looked at Yukata and Tianli with a look of fear. Tianli looked at Alita very forcefully and said domineeringly, "Now you have two choices, stay and do odd jobs with Kabi on my warship, or die. Which one do you choose?" Arita didn't want to die, so she had no choice but to succumb. She couldn't help but sigh to herself that she was so unlucky that she suddenly changed from a pirate captain to a handyman in the navy. After Tianli winked at Yukata, he commanded the navy to escort the pirate Luo to their ship. Kabi opened his eyes wide in surprise. He saw Arita surrendering like this. At this moment, he understood a little bit. It was not that Arita was too strong, but that he was too weak. Kabi knew that Tianli was for his own good, and hoped that one day he could overcome the demonic obstacles in his heart. This was done with good intentions. For a moment, Kabi was filled with deep gratitude to Tianli. Yukata looked at Kabi and said, "I think you also understand Lieutenant Colonel Tianli's hard work, so I won't say more. Now you and I will return these properties to the civilians." When Arita and Kirby came to the town again, they were recognized. After all, Arita's appearance was very conspicuous, and it immediately caused panic. Yukata stood up, "Don't be afraid, everyone. I am a subordinate of Lieutenant Colonel Tianli of the Navy headquarters. Now Lieutenant Colonel Tianli is stationed in Rog Town. This time I come out to destroy the pirates. Now the pirates have been suppressed by us. I brought them both to return everyone's property." The people looked at the Navy lieutenant uniform on Yukata, and then looked at Arita, who still looked fierce. Although her appearance remained the same, she no longer had the lawless aura before. She became extremely well behaved, and she also had that his injuries showed that he had been taught a lesson. They all immediately ran out happily, cheered enthusiastically and shouted at the same time, "Long live the Navy! Long live Lieutenant Colonel Tianli!" Early the next morning, when the sun rose above the sea level and the first ray of light shone into the love duck, a figure could be vaguely seen standing on the deck. He stood motionless and held a knife. He was undoubtedly Tianli. Kaba woke up from the room and saw that Tianli was not in the room. He put on his clothes and got up to search, but saw him standing on the deck with his sword drawn, carrying the sunshine. The golden light shone on him, as if he had been coated with a layer of gold foil. Tianli stood quietly with his sword drawn, undisturbed by all external factors, and did not even shake the sword in his hand. Just like a statue, it looks sacred and solemn. It's not enough to just talk about being strong. When those strong people win a duel, they are jealous, but who knows that what they have to do behind the scenes is dozens or even hundreds of times more than ordinary people. What about your efforts? Although Kaba didn't know what Tianli was doing, he was impressed by Tianli's unswerving perseverance. For a long time, until the surrounding sky became brighter and brighter, and the sun completely rose from the sea, Tianli suddenly opened his eyes, exhaled a foul breath, and let out a low drink. The snow in his hand was violently swung out, and a piece of iron in front of him was chopped into two pieces. He then raised his eyes and looked at Kaba standing next to him, and said with a smile, "When did you get here? How come I didn't know?" Chapter 20 Devil Fruit. Kaba's jaw has dropped to the ground in shock, and his eyes are wide open. This is the first time he has seen someone who can cut off iron. Not to mention seeing it before, he has never heard of it. He stammered and asked, "Lieutenant Colonel Tianli, how did you do this?" Tianli smiled. It turns out that although Tianli's sword skills are not as good as that of the guy with facial paralysis, they are on the edge of the iron-cutting realm. I woke up early this morning to practice swordsmanship, and suddenly I had some enlightenment, so I found a piece of iron and tried it. Unexpectedly, I succeeded. He smiled and explained, "This is called Zanti, a realm of swordsman's sword skills. It's still far away from you now. Starting today, I have to learn physical skills from school Yuxi. You must know that physical skills are no better than swordsmanship. Poor skills. When Kabi heard what Tianli said, he started to look forward to Yukita's next training. His eyes were full of stars. Tianli shook his head for a while. You must know that everything is difficult at the beginning, and the same is true for cultivation. In the following days, Kabi will definitely make Yukita look like a dog. The sun was shining brightly on this day. After practicing the sword skills, I started practicing the 6 styles and fishman boxing. Not far away, Yukita began arranging inhumane training for Kabi. Arita was safely sailing to Sarop village, which is Locke's current place and Yusabu's hometown. Arita looked at Kabi, who had been trained like a dog, and suddenly felt that she was full of happiness now. At noon, Tianli took out the 2 devil fruits he had been carrying and called Yukita and Kabi over. Yukita and Kabi saw Tianli holding a fruit in one hand as soon as they came over. The complex patterns on this object are spiral-shaped and circle next to each other. It is round like a watermelon, but its rough appearance is somewhat similar to a durian. The other one has the same rough surface but resembles durian. The natural devil fruit looks like a pineapple, the animal devil fruit looks like a banana, and the superhuman devil fruit looks like a durian. Yukita, who came from the Navy headquarters, naturally recognized these, and exclaimed, "Animal and superhuman devil fruits." After saying that, he looked at the animal-type devil fruit with bright eyes. After all, this animal-type devil fruit was too tempting for a 6-style practitioner. But in the blink of an eye, he thought that Lieutenant Colonel Tianli was also a practitioner of the 6 styles, and the fire in his heart immediately went out. "Tianli, Yukita, didn't I say I would give you a surprise yesterday? I forgot about it yesterday, so I will give it to you now." As he said this, he handed over the animal devil fruit in his hand. Yukita was stunned immediately and asked blankly, "Lieutenant Colonel Tianli, aren't you also a 6-style practitioner? You should also need the animal devil fruit. Why give it to me? I don't need it for the time being, so you can use this one. You must know that I want to build the strongest single ship in the Navy. The strength is too weak, but you won't be able to stay on my warship for long." Tianli thought to himself. "I will tell you, do I look down on this animal-type devil fruit that is ranked among the elementary ones?" What else did Yukita want to say? But Tianli didn't want to say anything more to her in this regard. When she opened her mouth to speak, he stuffed the animal devil fruit in her hand into her mouth. At the same time, Kirby, who was still confused, stuffed the Superman devil fruit into his mouth. Almost at the same time, Yukita and Kabi swallowed the devil fruit and vomited at almost the same time, but they couldn't vomit it out no matter how much they vomited. Others don't know how delicious this devil fruit tastes, but Tianli knows it. He couldn't help but laugh up at the sky, and then asked with a sinister smile, "How does this devil fruit taste? Isn't it quite delicious?" It took a while for Yukita and Kobe to recover from the wonderful taste of the devil fruit. Kobe asked with a bitter look on his face, "Lieutenant Colonel Tianli, what did you give me to eat? That tastes so-so, it's not poisonous." Before Tianli could speak, Yukita immediately shouted, "Don't talk nonsense if you don't understand. What Lieutenant Colonel Tianli gave you is a devil fruit." Kirby looked puzzled. "Devil fruit? What is it?" Devil fruits are also very rare in the Grand Line, let alone the East China Sea. How could he, an ordinary person, know that? "Yukita, I'll explain it to you now. When the time comes to go out, you won't even know the devil fruit, but it will be really embarrassing." Kabi blushed when Yukita said he was embarrassed. "Listen up. Devil fruits are divided into natural type, animal type, and superhuman type. They all look like fruits. The natural type of devil fruit looks like a pineapple, the animal type of devil fruit looks like a banana, and the superhuman type of devil fruit looks like a durian. Generally speaking, the natural type of devil fruit is the strongest. For example, the 3 generals of our navy, Akainu, King Z, and Kizaru, are all natural type ability users. They are rock fruit, frozen fruit, and sparkling fruit respectively. From this point of view, you can see how powerful nature is." Kabi's eyes immediately lit up after hearing this. In his mind, he directly equated natural devil fruits with generals. Yukita added, "Of course, natural devil fruits are also the rarest. You can count the ones that have appeared on one hand. Next are the animal devil fruits, which are worse than natural devil fruits in comparison, but there are also some. There is no shortage of powerful fruits. The Marshal of the Navy, Sengoku, ate the animal-type phantom beast species, the Great Buddha form. There is also the Whitebeard Pirates, the captain of the first team, Phoenix Marco, the animal type, phantom species. Phoenix fruit, can you say it's not strong? Kaba's mouth fell to the ground again now, Marshal of the Navy, when I thought that what I was eating looked like durian, it was a Superman-type devil fruit, so I quickly asked, what about the Superman-type devil fruit? Yukata, not to mention the Superman-type devil fruit. The current strongest person in the world, Whitebeard, is the shock fruit among the Superman-type devil fruits. The strongest person in the world. Kaba's eyes lit up immediately, and drool started to flow from his mouth. He knew at a glance that he was about to have sex. Tian Li slapped Gu Kabi on the head and said, let me tell you, I am not saying that eating devil fruit will make you a strong person. It just means that your starting point is a little higher than ordinary people. If you rely too much on devil fruit if you have the power, then you will never become a strong person, this is what General Akainu said. Okay, I won't say more, you can use it first and see what abilities you have gained. After all, it was Yukata who knew more about devil fruit, so he just closed his eyes to experience it and let out a low drink. Changes immediately appeared on her body. A long tail grew from behind, and there were several long and thin beards on her face. Her ears became furry, and her hands turned into claws. This whole image of Catwoman. End of video. Like and subscribe for more videos like this.